Chapter 3351. Rainbow World. What? Lin Ling is back. Naturally, the Flaming Emperor received the news. Everyone was furious, especially the Flaming Emperor. He knew that Lin Ling was trying to intimidate him. The new heavenly court also received the news. Even Wentian Martial God knew about Lin Ling's return. However, he didn't act rashly. Lin Ling might have destroyed Yan province, but he disappeared quickly. It would be hard to find him in a short period of time. Secondly, Wentian Martial God was still wary of Lin Ling's mysterious companion. He's back. The most surprised person was none other than Patriarch Tai Yi. Moreover, the entire Grand Change Nebula sect was terrified. In the past, they had betrayed Lin Ling and thought that Lin Ling was dead for sure. Who would have thought that Lin Ling was still alive? Moreover, he had come back to ask for revenge in front of countless experts in the Yan province. Sect leader, back then, we betrayed Lin Ling. That didn't seem like a good decision. Some of the elders found the old master Tai Yi and chuckled bitterly. Patriarch Tai Yi stood there in a daze, at a loss for words. This was because he had thought that Lin Ling was dead for sure. That was why he had handed over Lin Ling. At the same time, he could gain the favor of the experts of the new heavenly court. But now, instead of gaining the favor, the Grand Change Nebula sect had lost the most precious thing. He. When he thought of this, the Tai Yi Patriarch laughed helplessly. Unfortunately, when the Yan province was in chaos, Lin Ling had already left and once again came to the world with the mysterious rainbow. A couple of figures stood quietly on the calm sea. Their eyes were looking into the distance. There was a large cluster of rolling rainbow clouds. It was beautiful and extremely mysterious. Young master, could that be the legendary rainbow world? Do Afterimage stared at the rainbow clouds and his expression changed. Rainbow world? Upon seeing this, Lin Ling couldn't help but become curious. Even though Li Xiaoyao had traveled all over the 9 continents, the universe was extremely vast. Naturally, there were places that Li Xiaoyao didn't know about. As an assassin, Du Kening more or less knew some things that Li Xiaoyao didn't know. It sounds like a dreamlike place. A smile appeared on Cruel Sword's cold face. He was extremely curious about the rainbow world. As for Xiao Yu, she was clapping her hands. The little girl was undoubtedly very fond of beautiful things like rainbows. However, Do Kening shook his head and said, "This is one of the 7 great forbidden lands of the 9 prefectures. It is not a dreamlike place." 7 great forbidden grounds. Lin Ling's expression immediately changed. Currently, he knew of the 7 great forbidden lands. There was the 8 gods' heavenly palace, the everlasting forbidden forest, and now there was the rainbow world. According to legends, the rainbow world can appear anywhere in the 9 prefectures. Moreover, it can disappear and reappear at any time. Most importantly, it is not a void, but a real world. It is a new world that is different from the universe. Do Kening explained. Young master should also know that there are many independent voids in the universe. However, no matter how mystical they are, they still belong to the universe. Unknowingly, they are also controlled by the universe. Cultivators cultivate to comprehend the great Tao of the void. Whoever controls the great Tao is the master of the universe. The reason why the gods of the past were powerful was because they controlled the great Tao of the universe. However, this great Tao has no effect in the rainbow world because that world doesn't belong to the universe. This also means that even if you are very strong in our world, when you go to that world, your strength will be weakened. In the past, many people have encountered the rainbow world. Those people thought they were strong, but after entering the rainbow world, they all died, killed by the people inside. Only a few people came out alive, and they spread the news of the rainbow world. Hearing this, Lin Ling and the others sucked in a breath of cold air. A world that doesn't belong to the universe. Old Do, what kind of power is in the rainbow world? Lin Ling couldn't help but ask curiously. Hearing this, Do Kening bitterly smiled and helplessly shook his head. I have only heard of the rainbow world. At this time, Remnant Sword pointed forward and said, Sir, those rainbow clouds are gradually disappearing. Should we go in? The originally beautiful rainbow began to dim at this moment, changing into the appearance of white clouds. This made Lin Ling have a feeling that if it completely turned into white clouds, it meant that the rainbow world had disappeared. But, should they go in? Since it is one of the 7 great forbidden areas, and it is very difficult to see, then let's go and explore. In the end, Lin Ling made a decision because his goal was also to roam freely in this world. If he was afraid of a forbidden area and didn't dare to enter, it would be inconsistent with Lin Ling's martial heart. Let's go. Under Lin Ling's lead, Do Kening and the others also hurriedly followed. The rainbow in front of them continued to change. Lin Ling and the others passed through the white clouds, but these clouds had already become ordinary clouds, and there were fewer and fewer clouds with rainbow colors. Speed up. Lin Ling let out a low roar and shot into a 7-colored cloud in front of him. Do Ying and the others quickly followed closely behind. When they appeared again, they were on a red land. It was a little different from the last time Lin Ling came here. There was no desert, but the surroundings were extremely lonely as if there was no one around. Woo woo woo. Only gusts of hot wind blew by from time to time, causing flames to occasionally rise from the red land. It looked extremely magical. It was very hot here. The temperature was so high that it made people feel as if they were in a furnace. This rainbow world is actually so hot. Remnant Sword quickly covered his body with boundary essence and then looked ahead solemnly. Hee, different worlds naturally have different laws and great daos. Lin Ling smiled. Previously, when he heard Do Kenying's words, he was also a little afraid of the rainbow world. However, after entering, that fear disappeared without a trace. Instead, there was a feeling of curiosity and anticipation. Moreover, he sensed that there was a strange suppression in this world, as if boundary essence was being suppressed here. It seemed that this was caused by the different laws and great daos of the 2 worlds. Let's go. Lin Ling had 5 great dantians, so he also wrapped Xiaoyu with boundary essence and held her hand as they walked forward. After getting familiar with it, it doesn't seem to be so stressful. Hee, the rainbow world is making me more and more curious. Do Kening smiled and also followed Lin Ling. As for Remnant Sword, he was still cold, but the corners of his mouth curved into a smile as he strolled forward. As a warrior, he was the same as Lin Ling, hoping to travel to every corner of the world. However, he was a slave in the past, and his life and death were controlled by others, so he didn't dare to have such extravagant hopes. But now, he followed a good master, and his master didn't treat him as a slave. This was his fortune. Chapter 3352. Caravan. The few of them stepped on the red earth and slowly moved forward. They were also chatting and laughing. This red earth had layers upon layers of red earth pillars. Under the floating air formed by the heat waves, it was as if there were giants hidden in the distance. Lin Ling and the others walked for half a day, but they still did not see anyone. Moreover, because of the occasional flame storm, they lost their way and could only walk randomly. The flame storm formed by the desert was even more terrifying than the hot wind. Lin Ling had a feeling that even if he was swept into the flame storm, he would still be injured. Brother, I'm a little hungry. Where are we going now? Xiao Yu was filled with curiosity at first. However, the surroundings were all red earth and she began to feel bored. Hearing this, Lin Ling smiled bitterly. He did not know where to go now. Young master, look, there are people over there. Suddenly, Broken Sword pointed into the distance and said. On the lonely land, a caravan was moving along the ground. From afar, there were about 100 people. Let's go take a look. Seeing this, Lin Ling could not help but smile. Finally, he met people. Then, he led Xiao Yu and the others towards the caravan. Who is it? Before they got close, a cold shout was heard. The voice seemed to shake the ground. Obviously, the person who spoke was not weak. Lin Ling immediately slowed down his pace. With a polite smile on his face, he slowly walked over. At least those people did not have to be so nervous. Moreover, he also relaxed a little. Because through that person's words, he knew that in the Rainbow Realm, at least the language was the same. He just did not know what their path of cultivation was. The caravan was riding on a rhinoceros-like monster. This monster had a large amount of resources hanging on it. It looked like it was a mount. The people on the monster also jumped down one by one. Bang bang bang. What surprised Lin Ling was that after they jumped down, the ground actually made a dull sound. Young master, it's very strange. I can't sense any realm essence from them. However, their strength is not weak. Do Kening immediately transmitted his voice, causing Lin Ling to nod. Who are you? Those people surrounded Lin Ling and the others, as if they were facing a great enemy. Their skin was a little green, but other than that, they were no different from ordinary humans. While they were sizing up Lin Ling's group was also sizing them up. Seeing Lin Ling remain silent, one of the 2-meter-tall men took a step forward and grabbed at Lin Ling with his palm. If you don't want to talk, then don't blame me for being rude. With this grab, surging astral winds swept out, looking extremely ferocious. How dare you? When he saw this, Cruel Sword attacked as well. He couldn't just watch as others attacked Lin Ling because it was an insult to him. A cold light flashed. Broken Sword's Tao of Killing had already grasped the essence of afterimages, so it was extremely sharp. Clang! However, when the dagger struck the man's arm, it actually emitted the sound of metal colliding, and green scales silently appeared on the man's arm. It was the scales that had blocked the dagger. What? This also caused Cruel Sword's expression to change. He was at the first level of the Saint Realm, and his fatal attack was actually blocked. You're courting death. On the other hand, the man's face turned cold. His huge fist struck towards the broken sword. However, at the critical moment, another dagger arrived and blocked the fist. What was even more frightening was that the sharp dagger was actually unable to cut open the man's fist. The person who attacked was doing, and at this moment, he was also shocked. Because the other party didn't have any boundary essence, but he was so strong. It seems that this world is different from our world's laws and great Tao. Boundary essence is suppressed to an extremely weak state, and although that man doesn't have any boundary essence, his physical strength is extremely strong, reaching the power of 300 boundary essences. Lin Ling roughly saw through the battle. While Duing and the others were shocked, the people of the caravan were also shocked because these people were very thin and seemed to have no strength at all, but they actually blocked the fist of their caravan's number 1 warrior. This was too unbelievable. Stop! At this moment, a low shout sounded, and then a man wearing a beast skin cloak slowly walked over while holding the hand of a little girl. Captain! Looking at the man, many people bowed. The man waved his hand, and his gaze fell on Lin Ling and the others. In his opinion, these people weren't strong. Perhaps the old man was stronger, but he didn't know what he cultivated. He didn't look strong, but he was able to block the fist of their caravan's number 1 warrior, Sengu. They aren't the Dragon King's men. Everyone, put down your weapons. The man said indifferently. Then, he looked at Lin Ling and said, this young master should be from the city. Oh, I don't know why you say that. The other party was a little polite, and Lin Ling immediately smiled. I see that your skin color is different, and you seem to be very unfamiliar with Yuxamo, so I guessed that. The man said with a smile. In fact, he was very sure that these people were definitely from the big city, because they seemed to know nothing about everything. The old man and the young man seemed to be the guards, and the young man and the little girl should be the young master. Maybe you're right. Hearing that, Lin Ling smiled and nodded. He didn't explain anything. After all, it wasn't important. We got lost here, so we wanted to ask you for directions. We didn't know that such a small conflict would happen. Lin Ling said. Lost. The man was even more certain that Lin Ling and the others were the young masters of the city. The others also smiled. At least these people weren't enemies. The burly warrior apologized to Du Kanying and the others, but Du Kanying and the others shook their heads with a smile, obviously not caring. Head south. We'll be out of Yushi in about 3 days. We're heading in that direction, so let's go together. Perhaps because he saw that Lin Ling and the others weren't a threat, the man said politely. Most importantly, he realized that his daughter and the little girl beside the young man seemed to hit it off. The two little girls were already exchanging glances. Lin Ling naturally saw Xiao Yu's expression, so he smiled and nodded. My name is Amoza, and this is my daughter, Amoza Lin. Lin Ling, this is Xiao Yu, Old Du, and Ken Jian. The two sides roughly introduced themselves, and then they walked together. Lin Ling, I see that you're quite bold. You dare to bring 2 people to Yuxamo, I'm impressed. Ha! Hee hee, it's my first time here, so I'm a little reckless. Ha! Chapter 3353. Shilong. Hee hee, your luck is not bad. You did not meet the Shilong. Otherwise, things would be troublesome. After chatting for a moment, the tallest warrior of the caravan suddenly laughed. Shilong. Hearing this, Lin Ling became curious. Big brother, I know what Shilong is. They are the Dragon King's men. They are extremely famous in Yushi land. All the caravans that meet them will be robbed. Moreover, I heard that the Dragon King likes to eat people and especially children. Therefore, in Yushi land, Shilong is also a demonic existence. Hee hee. Mo Lin suddenly said with a smile. She looked extremely innocent. She had 2 little braids. Although her skin was green, it could be seen that this little girl would definitely grow up to be very beautiful. At this moment, she is hugging a little white rabbit that Xiao Yu gave her to play with. She obviously treats Xiao Yu as her best friend. Eat people. Xiao Yu blinked her big eyes. Yes, all the children in Yushi land have been captured by the Shilong. I heard that they have been offered to the Dragon King. Hee hee. Asholin said with some lingering fear. This caused Xiao Yu's face to turn pale. Rumble. At this moment, the earth suddenly shook. The sound was deafening. Looking from afar, one can see a large group of lions rushing over. When they get closer, one can see that these lions are extremely tall. All of them are over 3 meters tall. Moreover, some of the lions have 2 heads. As for the people above the lions, their skin is brown. There is a thick mane around their necks. Their mouths are bigger than ordinary people, revealing their shining fangs. Damn it, Yushi land god did not protect us. What did he say and we are here? Hee hee. Looking at the dusty earth, Amoza's face changed greatly. This is the Shilong. Hee hee. Lin Ling narrowed his eyes. His 10,000 elephant devil eyes quietly appeared to investigate these Shilong. This made him realize that these Shilong are even more powerful. Most of them have the power of 500 realms. The strongest one has the power of 600 realms. If these people were placed in the primal chaos of the universe, they could easily destroy a world even if they didn't have boundary essence. As for the strongest person, even the afterimages were no match for him, unless the afterimages returned to the universal void. Ah Mo's caravan. A large group of lions stopped in the surroundings and took all of the treasures of the 100-man merchant group. That surging aura caused all of the mounts of the merchant group to lie down, not daring to move at all. This was why the merchant group had not run before, their mounts did not dare to move and could not escape at all. Roar. On the contrary, those lions roared at the sky, their voices like 100 thunderbolts bombarding the ground. You must be the Mo caravan. Impressive, you didn't inform us when you passed through Yushi. You must be trying to get away with it. A deep voice rang out with a hint of mockery. The one who spoke was a rather young male lion's son. I think the Mo caravan is looking down on our Shirlong. Yo, the Mo caravan has become stronger, no longer afraid of the Dragon King's power. The people around them laughed and waved the weapons in their hands, causing the lions to roar continuously, causing the mounts of the merchant group to tremble in fear. Noble Lord Lion Lin, please forgive our ignorance. We would rather give you 90% of the goods we brought this time as a tribute to the Lion King. I hope Lord Lion Lin can forgive us this time. Amoza's face was pale as he jumped down from his mount and bowed as he spoke. Clearly, he knew who the man in the lead was. He was the third son of the Shirlong Lion King and was extremely famous in Yushi because he was extremely brutal. The man named Lion Lin laughed at the sky again. You are quite smart. However, you have deceived us and the Dragon King, so you have to pay something. Is this your daughter? Offer her to the Dragon King. No. Amoza's face changed drastically when he heard this. You mean no? However, Lion Lin's face turned cold and his words carried a cruel and merciless aura. This made Amoza dispirited. He could not resist this group of people at all. 3 days later, I will go to your Mo caravan. Your goods and the little girl must be handed over. None of you are allowed to escape. If even one escapes, I will devour your caravan. Lion Lin laughed again and led the lion caravan away in a grandiose manner. Gazing at the dusty ground, the merchant group's faces turned incomparably pale. They had been targeted by the Shirlong. Father. Amoza's eyes were moist as she looked at her father. She had long known that the Dragon King loved to eat children. Every child who was captured had never returned alive. Amoza. Amoza hugged his daughter and could not help but cry. He was worried about leaving his daughter in the caravan, so he brought her along. Who knew that something would happen in the end? Leader, why don't we leave the caravan and not go back? At this moment, the strongest warrior in the caravan said. If we don't go back, more people will die in the caravan. Amoza smiled bitterly and shook his head. Besides, where can we go? His words made everyone's faces turn gloomy. Amoza then looked at Lin Ling and said, looks like we can't send you back. You can leave on your own. However, those lions said that none of us are allowed to escape. If one of us escapes, he will devour your caravan. If we leave, won't we be harming you? Lin Ling looked at Amoza and said. There's no other way. You probably don't know that Lord Lion Lin was also watching your daughter. If you don't leave, your daughter will also suffer. Amoza advised. He thought that Xiaoyu was Lin Ling's daughter. Hearing this, Lin Ling was a little surprised. He did not expect Amoza to still be concerned about Xiaoyu at this time. Go as far away as you can. Amoza did not wait for Lin Ling to speak and led the caravan forward again. Lin Ling, Xiaoyu, and the rest stayed where they were, looking at the back of the caravan. However, Xiaoyu tugged at Lin Ling's sleeve. Brother Lin Ling. Lin Ling could tell that Xiaoyu wanted to help Amoza. This made him smile immediately. Aren't you afraid of being eaten by Lord Dragon King? At the mention of this, Xiaoyu's face turned pale. Clearly, she was afraid. However, Thinking about the new friend she had just made, she shook her head stubbornly. Xiaoyu, I'm not afraid. Chapter 3354. Shima's Strength. Alright, let's go help him. Lin Ling glanced at Doing and the rest before riding his mount and chasing after the caravan. Why aren't you leaving? Sensing a voice behind them, the caravan immediately stopped. Amoza looked at Lin Ling in astonishment. We are lost again. Lin Ling helplessly spread out his hands and asked, what is this Shilong and Lord Dragon King? Shilong is one of the 8 strongest tribes in Yushi land. It is on par with Hawk Wolf tribe, Sand Crocodile tribe, Blood Scorpion tribe and many others. They all worship Lord Dragon King and the Lion Dragon King is very strong. He possesses 10 Shima's strength. Amoza immediately explained. Shima's strength? Lin Ling pondered for a moment before looking at the strongest warrior of the caravan and said, then he should possess 5 Shima's strength. That's right. He is our strongest warrior and possesses 5 Shima's strength. Amoza nodded. This made Lin Ling come to a realization. 1 Shima's strength was equivalent to 100 world strength. The Lion Dragon King's strength was 10 Shima's strength, which represented 1000 world strength. However, Lin Ling possessed 1200 world strength. I will go back with you because Xiao Yu is reluctant to part with Amoza. Thinking of this, Lin Ling smiled. This made Amoza extremely puzzled as he asked doubtfully, Xiao Yu will be in great danger after we return. This is Xiao Yu's choice. Therefore, I have no choice. Lin Ling said helplessly. Amoza looked at his daughter and Xiao Yu holding hands tightly. In the end, he did not refuse and led Lin Ling and the rest forward again. Along the way, they finally walked out of Yushi land. However, although there was no red soil in front of them, it was still a vast desert. Hot winds whistled in that place and it did not look like a place for humans to stay. That's the Dragon King's territory, the Demon Desert. Lin Ling nodded. The first time he entered the Rainbow World, he saw a desert. Moreover, he sensed a familiar power in the desert. It seemed to be the power of the Dragon God. Could it be that the Dragon God was related to the Dragon King? Without saying anything else, Lin Ling followed Amoza forward again. Along the way, he glanced at Xiaoyu and saw that the relationship between Xiaoyu and Amolin was getting better and better. The 2 girls were holding hands, chatting and giggling from time to time. It was as though they had completely forgotten about the danger from before. Seeing this, Lin Ling also smiled. Xiaoyu had been with him for so long, and she had finally met someone of the same age. No wonder she was smiling so happily. We're here. When night fell, the caravan finally returned to the main caravan. As far as the eye could see, bonfires were rising to the heavens in front of them. Sounds could be heard from time to time, and there were tents set up there. It seemed like there were quite a few people there. This large caravan of ours is made up of more than 10 caravans. They are extremely united and are under the control of an old merchant leader. Amoza explained. Amoza, you're back. A voice came from afar. Following which, a large number of people walked over. Upon closer inspection, other than the difference in skin color, their other characteristics were similar to Amoza and the rest. The leader was an old man. He wasn't tall, but he was extremely sturdy. His beard was also very long, reaching the ground. Presumably, this was the old merchant leader. Old merchant leader, bad news. In 3 days, the Shilong will be here. Amoza recounted what happened along the way. This caused the originally happy people to turn gloomy and worried. The Shilong had his eyes on them. This was their nightmare. Send all the children in the tribe to somewhere far away immediately. The old merchant leader said sternly to the crowd. Following which, he looked at Amoza with resentment. You've provoked the devil and brought the devil into the caravan. I'm sorry. Amoza hurriedly apologized. However, the crowd looked at them with resentment and didn't appreciate it at all. Humph, do you think an apology is enough? You've caused the death of the large caravan. In my opinion, we should chase them away and let them face the Shirlong. That's right, that's right. Many people said coldly. They were formed by more than 10 caravans. Amoza's caravan was only one of them. Naturally, they didn't want to be implicated by Amoza's caravan. You. Upon hearing those voices, Amoza's face immediately turned ugly. Previously, the Shirlong also came to the large caravan. However, his caravan didn't abandon these people and stayed with them through their trials and tribulations. Many of their goods were robbed, but at that time, he didn't say a word. However, now that he was in trouble, these people were blaming them. What nonsense are you talking about? Our large caravan is united because we don't want to be devoured by the devil. Now that Amoza's caravan is in trouble, how can we abandon them? However, at this moment, the old merchant leader shouted angrily. At the same time, he said to Amoza coldly, "Come in." Since the old merchant leader had spoken, the other caravans could only remain silent. Following which, the caravans entered the large caravan one after another. However, there was no doubt that the large caravan today wasn't as joyous as before. As the night grew darker, a few captains appeared in the old merchant leader's tent and looked at him. "I know why you're here. You want to chase away Amoza's caravan, right? However, you're too naive. Shirlong has already said that he'll be back in 3 days for Amoza's caravan. If we chase away Amoza's caravan, how will the large caravan report to the Shirlong?" The old merchant leader closed his eyes and said indifferently. His words made the captains come to a realization, and they could only accept reality in the end. In these 3 days, hide your goods as much as you can. Also, send the child away. The old merchant leader said again. "What about Amolin?" a captain asked. "This little girl provoked the devil in the desert. She should be the one to bear the devil's wrath. We must send her away. In these 3 days, keep an eye on Amoza and don't let him send his daughter away. Also, don't let him hide his goods. Oh right, among the people Amoza brought back, there's a little girl. Keep an eye on her and send her to the Devil Lord." "Yes." The captains nodded and left the tent one after another. At this moment, under the night sky, the large caravan was extremely quiet. Lin Ling and a few others were staying in a tent. In front of them were all kinds of roasted meat and fine wine. The large caravan seemed to be extremely polite to them and gave them all kinds of delicacies. Lin Ling looked at Xiao Yu and Amolin, who were eating happily and couldn't help but laugh. "Young master, we're being watched." However, at this moment, Dokening let out a low voice. He obviously sensed something. "I know." A piece of roasted meat appeared in Lin Ling's hand. He took a bite and replied with a smile. Cruel Sword heard Lin Ling and Xiao Yu's conversation and secretly investigated. He immediately discovered that there were a few people quietly walking around outside the tent. They seemed to be watching the tent. His face instantly turned cold. What's the meaning of this large caravan? Why are they watching us? It should be that the large caravan doesn't want to pay any price, so they're using us to pay so that the Shirlong won't blame them. Lin Ling smiled faintly, but his smile was a little cold. Watching. Chapter 3355. Surveillance. If Lin Ling wanted to leave, who could stop him? The reason he stayed behind was because he wanted to help the innocent Imo Lin. Moreover, Imo Jia treated them warmly. This was also one of the reasons why Lin Ling returned. However, the other merchants were not as righteous as Imo Jia. Especially the old merchant leader, he clearly intended to sacrifice himself to protect the caravan. Needless to say, the old merchant leader did have the boldness of a leader, and he was able to consider the overall situation and protect the caravan. However, there was no enmity between Lin Ling and the caravan, so wasn't the old merchant leader being too heartless if he were to sacrifice him just like that? Moreover, did the old merchant leader think that Lin Ling was a fool? Still ignoring the people outside, Lin Ling and the rest ate and drank in the tent. Listening to the sound of the wind and sand outside and looking at the two little girls playing, Lin Ling and the rest felt extremely relaxed. Lin Ling. However, at this moment, two figures appeared outside the tent. After greeting them, they walked in. It was Imo Jia and the rest. After Imo Jia walked in, he immediately scanned the outside of the tent carefully before saying in a low voice, "Lin Ling, follow me later and leave this place. The old merchant group has sent away all the children. I can see that he wants to send Xiao Yu to Shilong. Yes, we'll leave quickly tonight under the cover of the night." The other person also spoke and looked out of the tent from time to time, as if afraid that they would be discovered. Lin Ling and the rest were still eating meat. When they heard that, they could not help but be surprised. They did not expect Imo Jia to specially inform them. "What will happen to you if we leave? What about Imo Lin? Why don't I bring her along?" Lin Ling looked at Imo Jia and said. He did not expect this man to be so honest. If Imo Lin leaves, the large merchant group is dead meat. Imo Jia sighed and shook his head. "Don't tell me you want to sacrifice your daughter for the sake of the large merchant group. Moreover, you also saw how the people of the large merchant group treated you." Lin Ling said again. Upon hearing this, Amoza fell silent as if he was hesitating about something. Obviously, he knew about old Shang Zhang's actions, but he couldn't do such a thing to leave. For a moment, he could only look at his daughter and shake his head stubbornly. "Father, I won't leave. I want to follow you." Although Imo Lin knew what had happened, she still stubbornly looked at her father. The father and daughter immediately hugged each other. "Alright, you guys can go back. Whether we leave or stay, we'll decide for ourselves." Seeing this, Lin Ling sighed softly. He somewhat admired Amoza's loyalty, but he did not interfere with Amoza's decision. Amoza tried to persuade him again, but seeing that Lin Ling didn't seem to mind, he had no choice but to leave with his daughter. Lin Ling continued to accompany Xiao Yu. When Xiao Yu gradually became sleepy, he carried her on his back and left. Staying here and being monitored by others made him feel very uncomfortable. Therefore, Lin Ling did not plan to live in a tent. "Who's there?" They had just walked out when a voice sounded from outside. Moreover, a few burly men walked over and smiled. "Guests, where are you going at such a late hour?" Although their words were polite, there was also a hint of dominance. "We've just eaten, so we'd like to walk around and exercise our bodies." Lin Ling smiled and replied indifferently. "Yushi is extremely dangerous at night. For your safety, you'd better return to your tent. If anything happens to you, we won't be able to answer to Captain Amoza." The few men were still smiling, but they had already extended their hands to stop Lin Ling and the rest. "No need, we can take responsibility for ourselves." However, Lin Ling also sneered. "Sai, why do you have to make things difficult for us? Since that's the case, please forgive us if we've offended you." Under the night sky, the few men's smiles suddenly became ferocious. Clearly, they wanted to use forceful means to stop Lin Ling and the rest from leaving. "Of course, I'll forgive you." Lin Ling's eyes also became cold, and an invisible force spread out. Scram! Under the dark night sky, the huge shadow of the realm-swallowing beast appeared. Its huge mouth opened, and the men trembled and fell to the ground in fright. So scary, what was that? With their knowledge, they had never seen such a terrifying demonic beast. "You've overestimated yourselves." Lin Ling carried Xiao Yu on his back and walked past the few men, disappearing into the night sky. "Who are these guests? Are they demons? The few men's faces were still pale, but they quickly thought of something, and their faces changed drastically. Then, they quickly went to inform the old Shang leader. At that moment, the old Shang leader was just about to go to sleep. At that moment, the few men anxiously came and told him what had happened. What? You let them escape? Do you know that if they escape, the Shilong will definitely want more things? He might even take his anger out on us. Our caravan will suffer. The old Shang leader immediately said angrily. The few men lowered their heads, not daring to look at the old Shang leader. Only one of them said, I don't know what sorcery he used, but he suddenly showed us a huge monster. We were all scared. You've all been fooled. I've seen those people. Without the power of Shima, they are not warriors at all. The old Shang leader paced back and forth, his beard dragging on the ground, and his eyes were extremely cold. We can only sacrifice Amoza. Hopefully, he will hand over all his goods. This will appease the Shilong. Yes, old Shang leader. We will keep an eye on Amoza. The night sky was still calm, but the caravan obviously had a sleepless night. On the other hand, Lin Ling and the rest were relaxed. After leaving the caravan, they started a fire under a red pillar and rested just like that. In this merciless world, the strong are respected. The strong may seem domineering and ruthless, but in reality, the weak are extremely shameless. Perhaps this is the pitiful side of a pitiful person. Do Kenning thought about what happened before and couldn't help but sigh. Sir, let that ugly caravan die. Kanjian said coldly. Kanjian, with the young master's temper, I'm afraid he will still return to the caravan after 3 days. Do Kenning smiled and looked at Lin Ling. A wine bowl appeared in Lin Ling's hand, and he drank heartily. Then, he wiped the corner of his mouth and said, Old people still know me well. Kanjian's expression immediately changed and asked, Sir, are we really going to save those hypocrites? Lin Ling shook his head, I'm saving Amoza and the rest. As for the caravan, their life and death has nothing to do with me. Sigh. He, Lin Ling, wasn't a saint. In addition, after practicing martial arts for so many years, what kind of people hadn't he seen? It could be said that even if he saved the caravan, those people wouldn't be grateful to him. Therefore, he, Lin Ling, didn't need to be so magnanimous. Of course, other than saving them, I'm also very interested in the Dragon King. Lin Ling said again. I heard that the Dragon King is the god of all the tribes. I wonder how strong he is and what kind of existence he is. Sir. Chapter 33:56. 3 days have passed. Lin Ling looked into the distance and shook his head. I don't know the Dragon King's strength, but I'm sure that he's from the Dragon Clan. He's an existence similar to the Dragon God. I sensed his aura the first time I came here, so I'm very curious about him. At present, Lin Ling possesses the Heavenly Dragon's bones and the Great Nether Dragon soul. In fact, he already has the bloodline of the Dragon Clan. However, he has never seen the legendary Dragon Clan. Therefore, this was the reason why he stayed behind. I wonder how Yu and the rest are doing. The night gradually quieted down. Lin Ling looked into the distance and thought of his family in another world. Ever since he went to Yan province, he rarely saw Yu and the rest. Yu and the rest did not blame Lin Ling because they knew that Lin Ling was making his way in the outside world. He wanted to become stronger. Only then could their home be more peaceful. 3 days passed quietly without anyone noticing. Early in the morning, the temperature of the entire Yushi continent rose. Flames rose from time to time in this lonely world. Compared to the temperature in the distance, the people of the large merchant groups were also burning with anxiety. They were waiting for the arrival of the Shilong. They did not dare to escape. Because if they did, the consequences would be even more severe. Unless they decided to never live in Wuxia continent. Still not coming. The old merchant leader frowned and said. Father, don't worry. The Shilong will come. Now, we just need a Moses merchant group to endure their anger. Beside him, a burly young man laughed. He was topless and had a beast tooth hanging from his neck. He looked extremely powerful. His name was Mo Gulin, the son of the old merchant leader. Looking at the merchant groups again, they saw that all the merchant groups had surrounded a Moses merchant group. Everyone was looking at a Moses merchant group with a strange look. It was a look of discrimination. It was as if a Moses group was a virus and they would be in danger if they went near them. However, they surrounded a Moses group and did not let them escape. Moses naturally noticed these strange looks. He felt as if his heart was being sliced by a knife. Sometimes, death wasn't scary. Instead, it was the looks of discrimination that were the scariest. Those looks could invisibly kill. Escape. Their Moses merchant group had never intended to flee, otherwise, they wouldn't have returned a long time ago. But even so, the caravan didn't believe them at all. Bang bang bang. At this time, the earth began to shake. Dust flew in the distance as a large number of ferocious beasts rushed over from afar. Their roars soared into the sky. That was the roar of a lion, causing the mounts of the large caravan to lie down and tremble all over. In just a short while, a large number of lions arrived and surrounded the entire caravan. Their murderous aura was extremely dense. Roar. Those lions' eyes were filled with blood. After roaring, they went to devour those mounts. No one dared to move as they watched their mounts being eaten. They could only cast resentful gazes towards Moses and the others because they believed that this was all Moses' doing. They did not blame Shilong at all. Perhaps it was a deep-rooted belief that they were killed and devoured. This was a matter of course. Great caravan, we haven't been here for a year, ha ha ha. The leader was a lion king that was twice the size of a lion. A burly young man sat on the lion king and laughed heartily as he spoke. Noble Lord Lion Lin, you haven't been here for more than a year. In order to make you happy, we have also prepared food for you. The old merchant leader immediately walked out and bowed as he spoke. Ha ha ha, old merchant leader, you're smart, you're very smart. Lord Lion Lin's gaze swept across the caravan and he frowned. He didn't see many children and this made him very dissatisfied. The old merchant leader sensed Lord Lion Lin's gaze and hurriedly said, the children and goods that Lord Lion Lin asked for last time have all been prepared. We only hope that Lord Lion Lin will be happy. Our caravan is willing to serve you for the rest of our lives. After speaking, he looked towards Moses' side and his expression turned cold. Why aren't you greeting the noble Lord Lion Lin? The people of Moses' caravan were filled with despair. But at this moment, Lord Lion Lin shouted, wait, why is a little girl missing? And where are those people we saw last time? Why can't I see any of them? Hearing this, the expressions of the people of the caravan changed drastically. Their gazes towards Moses and the rest were filled with resentment. The old merchant leader hurriedly said, our caravan is incompetent. We hope that Lord Lion Lin will forgive us for allowing them to escape. However, in order to make up for our mistakes, we are willing to hand over the entire Moses caravan and make them slaves to serve the Shilong for the rest of their lives. At the end of his sentence, he bowed and stood up. The Moses caravan raised their heads and their eyes were filled with anger. Their leader had handed over his daughter and goods out of guilt. But who knew that in order to appease Lord Lion Lin's anger, the caravan would hand them all over and make them slaves. It felt as though they were supposed to sacrifice themselves for the caravan. Old merchant leader. Moses roared, his eyes turning red. His sense of belonging to the great caravan had finally dissipated completely. You have to bear the consequences of your own mistakes. However, the old merchant leader replied expressionlessly. You are a devil, a complete devil. 3 years ago, the Blood Scorpion tribe came and the caravan was in trouble. We did not leave and stayed with the caravan to survive. 2 years ago, the Hawkwolf tribe massacred the caravan and half of our Amoza's caravan died. We fought against the Hawkwolf tribe together with the caravan. Now, the caravan has betrayed us. Amoza roared angrily. What happened in the past is in the past. People have to look forward. The old merchant leader said coldly and did not even look at Amoza. Ha ha ha. When Lord Lion Lin saw this scene, he could not help but laugh out loud. He liked to see the internal strife of the caravan. This showed their dignity even more. What a shameless old man. However, at this moment, an untimely voice sounded, causing the caravan to fall silent. In the distance, several figures slowly walked over, passing by the lions, causing them to calm down. It's you. When the old merchant leader saw this, his expression changed. It was the same for Amoza and the rest. Lin Ling and the rest had returned. But why did they come back? Weren't they sending themselves to their deaths? Ha, I remember you. I didn't expect you to come back again and even bring a little girl back. Very good, very good. Lord Lion Lin was still laughing. 2 little girls. This was a good harvest and could make the Dragon King happy. Then, he said coldly, Old merchant leader, go and capture that little girl. Yes, sir. The old merchant leader nodded immediately and looked at Lin Ling and the rest. Guests, you shouldn't have come back. Now that you're back, I can't help you anymore. Mogulin, go and bring that little girl over. Chapter 3357. Submit to me. Brat, hand him over. The old Shang clan leader's son immediately walked towards Lin Ling and the others. His eyes were extremely cold, and even contained a hint of killing intent. It was these few pieces of trash that almost caused Shilong to vent his anger on them. Now, these pieces of trash still had the nerve to come back. He was courting death. Let me remind you that Xiaoyu is my daughter. Not to mention handing her over, even if she loses a single strand of hair, your caravan will be buried with her. At this moment, Lin Ling stopped, stared at the burly man and sneered. Shameless boasting. Mo Gulin roared. These people were about to die, but they still dared to be stubborn. He stomped his feet on the ground, causing the ground to crack. Scales appeared all over his body as he reached out to grab Xiaoyu. Crash! As he moved out, the hot wind seemed to have been swept away, causing the large merchant group to cheer repeatedly. Mo Gulin was the #1 warrior of the large merchant group. His strength was indeed formidable. Bang! His fist also landed on Lin Ling's head, raising a cloud of dust. Lin Ling! Amo Jia, Amo Lin, and the others immediately shouted. Lin Ling was dead for sure after being hit by the Mogulin. Ha ha ha, weak ants. Mo Gulin maintained his posture of punching out, but he laughed excitedly. Then, he retracted his fist and tried to grab Xiaoyu. However, to his surprise, the little girl beside him was just looking at him calmly. Moreover, the old man and the youth beside her were also looking at him calmly. These people were actually not afraid. Mo Gulin was surprised. You'd better not touch her. Otherwise, you'll know how to write the word death. At this moment, a cold voice sounded in front of him. The caravan instantly fell silent. Everyone saw that the thin young man was standing there quietly, as if he wasn't injured at all. Some people even noticed that he didn't even take a step back. He could be said to be completely unscathed. However, Mo Gulin possessed the power of 6 Shimo. How is this possible? The arrogant smile on Mo Gulin's face disappeared. In its place was a wave of shock. Boom! He punched out again, smashing onto Lin Ling's chest, causing the earth to tremble slightly, and dust flew into the air. However, under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Lin Ling did not take even half a step back. He only stared coldly at Mo Gulin. This left everyone, including Mo Gulin, dumbfounded. Because Lin Ling clearly didn't have Shimo's power, but how could he not die? It seems like you've turned a deaf ear to everything I've said. Lin Ling continued to stare at Mo Gulin as he spoke coldly. That gaze finally caused Mo Gulin's heart to tremble violently. Although he did not know what had happened, he felt that this young man was very frightening. Since you want me to die so badly, then I'll send you to hell. Lin Ling stretched out his palm and gently slapped out. That palm strike caused Mo Gulin's expression to change drastically, and he hurriedly retreated. However, with his strength, if Lin Ling wanted to kill him, how could he escape? Bang! The sound of a watermelon shattering rang out. Under countless gazes, Mo Gulin's head exploded from Lin Ling's palm strike. Blood and brain matter splattered everywhere. Ah! After a moment of silence, cries of alarm rang out from the large caravan. They never thought that this skinny young man would be so powerful that he could kill Mo Gulin with a single blow. Mo Gulin had previously thrown 2 punches, but the young man was unscathed. The difference between them was too great. Who was this young man? If they knew that not only did Lin Ling look down on Mo Gulin, but he also looked down on Shilong, who knows how they would feel then. He's that powerful. At this moment, the members of the Amoza caravan felt that everything was unreal. After all, Lin Ling had always been by their side. They simply could not feel that Lin Ling was that powerful. What a good-for-nothing. Old merchant leader, I'll give you a chance. Capture that little girl. Otherwise, all of you will die. Lord Lion Lin continued to roar with laughter, as if he was not worried at all. Du Kening and the rest immediately shook their heads. This leader of the Shilong was also a good-for-nothing. He simply could not see through Lord Lion Lin's power. Go, go, go. Capture that little girl. Hearing Lord Lion Lin's words, old merchant leader's heart immediately trembled. Although he was surprised by Lin Ling's power, he was clearly more afraid of Lord Lion Lin. Old merchant leader, let me. A man who was 2 meters tall and wielded a giant hammer walked out. He was also a leader of the caravan. Although he was not the strongest warrior of the large caravan, he was extremely experienced in battle. Ah Taizhan, how dare you attack? Amoza immediately roared. As a fellow leader, he naturally knew how powerful the man was. Unfortunately, the man only sneered at him and ignored him. Rumble. The man dragged the giant hammer and pounced towards Lin Ling. The seemingly giant hammer was as light as a sword in his hand. This also showed how powerful he was. Howling winds swept across the sky. Above Lin Ling's head, a giant hammer came crashing down ferociously. Speed. Ah Tieshan's speed was even faster than Mo Gulin's. In addition, with such a heavy hammer, if he was hit, he would be seriously injured even if he did not die. However, as the giant hammer got closer and closer to Lin Ling disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already above Ah Tieshan's head. A palm gently slapped down from the sky. This change undoubtedly shocked the large caravan. That thin and weak youth was also so fast. Even Du Kening and Broken Sword were secretly surprised. Because in this world, Jia Yuan was greatly suppressed, so even if they were to face such a warrior, they might not be able to win. However, Lin Ling easily dealt with the enemy. Bang! It was still a palm, a light palm, but it carried a terrifying power that was difficult to detect. Boom! Ah Tieshan's head exploded. Moreover, the palm did not stop. It landed on the giant hammer and actually smashed it, shocking everyone. Everyone was stunned. Although Mo Gulin was stronger, he lacked battle experience. Therefore, it was understandable that he had lost. However, Ataizhan had been the leader of the caravan. He had probably fought thousands of battles, big and small, but he had still been smashed to death by a single palm. This time, not only the large caravan, but even Amoza and the rest could sense how terrifying Lin Ling was. Such ants, no matter how many of them come, will die. Lin Ling's body appeared once again. With his hands behind his back, he looked indifferently at the large caravan. Plop! The old merchant leader was so frightened that he fell to the ground. His face was pale. At this moment, his heart was pounding like thunder. He had actually sent people to monitor such an expert. Was he crazy? You have some ability. Now, I'll give you a chance. Submit to me and hand over that little girl, and I'll spare your life. However, at this moment, Lord Lion Lin smiled faintly. He seemed to have taken a liking to Lin Ling and wanted Lin Ling to be his subordinate. After all, it was rare to meet such a powerful warrior. Submit to you. You think you can do that? Chapter 33:58. Blood flowed like a river. It seems that if I don't teach you a lesson, you won't know what it means to be the god of the great earth Yuxamo. Men, capture him and humiliate that little girl. Lord Lion Forest laughed disdainfully and waved his right hand. Roar! 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 The surrounding lions began to roar, their auras soaring into the sky. Although Lin Ling had defeated the warriors of the large merchant caravan, the large merchant caravan was as weak as an ant to them. Therefore, they did not think much of Lin Ling. Young man, you have some ability. However, come and test it out with me, Lai San. A lion with long fiery red fur pounced towards Lin Ling. This guy actually possessed the power of Kixamo. Of course, this was also borrowing the power of the lion. At this moment, the lion was like a huge bull that wanted to smash Lin Ling to death. Wherever he passed, all the rocks were smashed apart. It was terrifying. The most shocking thing was that he was charging towards Lin Ling. If Lin Ling dodged, then Xiaoyu and the rest behind Lin Ling would definitely suffer. This showed how vicious this person was. He was forcing Lin Ling to take his attack. However, Lin Ling still had his hands behind his back and did not move. Instead, he gently extended his palm. This shocked everyone. Lin Ling, what was he doing? Boom! At the same time, the lion brought the strong warrior and crashed into Lin Ling, causing a violent shockwave. However, when the dust settled, everyone saw that Lin Ling was still standing quietly. His palm was still extended and he blocked the lion with his palm. Moreover, he did not retreat at all. Looking at the 5-meter-tall lion, its head was lowered as it resisted Lin Ling's palm. Its 4 limbs were galloping, but it could not move Lin Ling at all. Die, beast! Lin Ling looked at the lion indifferently and made the huge lion look at him. The lion actually began to tremble. Boom! Lin Ling punched out, and it was as if he had smashed apart a meteor. Under countless gazes, the lion and the expert on its back were actually blasted apart with a single punch. Flesh and blood splattered everywhere, shocking the heavens and earth. Everyone in the caravan was so frightened that they fell to the ground. Even the people in Shilong felt their hearts pounding wildly. Kill him. Lord Lion Forest finally realized that this young man was somewhat extraordinary. Bang bang bang. The surrounding lions began to gallop. Hundreds of lions weaved back and forth, trampling a large number of people to death. They swept up the dust and surrounded Lin Ling. Kill! Earth-shattering noises rang out as the lions roared incessantly. They did not believe that a mere youth could stop their lion legion. Rumble! At the center, dust soared into the sky. It could be called a catastrophe. The people of the caravan had no doubt that the young man had been stomped into meat paste. At this moment, in the dust, the lions were extremely fast. However, Lin Ling was even faster. I submit to all of you. Beside one of the lions, the young man floated in the air, following closely behind him. The eyes of the person on the lion trembled fiercely. Could it be that this young man could fly? Boom! Without waiting for him to speak, Lin Ling killed both the man and the lion with a single punch. You want to capture Xiao Yu? The cold voice rang out again. Flesh and blood splattered everywhere, and another lion was killed. Then, an illusion appeared. It was the illusion god's true inheritance. Lin Ling realized that this world suppressed realm essence, but it did not suppress soul power. I killed him. Someone let out a happy voice because the lion he was sitting on tore Lin Ling apart. This made him very excited. You're still far from it. However, before this laughter could fade, a palm slammed down from above that person's head. With a boom, both the man and the lion were turned into meat paste. Lin Ling did not use any methods at all. He just relied on his pair of fists to destroy this group of lions in a simple and crude manner. The dust was still rolling. Outside the dust, everyone stared at the center, not knowing what was happening inside. Is that young man still alive? Nonsense, he's surrounded by the lion core. He's definitely dead. The people of the caravan whispered. However, just as they finished speaking, the rumbling in the dust stopped. Moreover, a slender figure slowly walked out from the dust. When it gradually became clear, people saw that it was a delicate and handsome young man. When the dust fell, they saw that there was a large lump of meat paste in the center, and blood flowed like a river. The lion core was destroyed by a single person. Terror began to spread throughout the entire space. Everyone's hearts were beating like drums. Old Shang, Amoza, and the others, their faces were incomparably pale. This was because they never expected Lin Ling to be so powerful. Especially old Shang, his face was filled with fear. In order not to offend Shilong, he sacrificed Amoza's daughter and Lin Ling's daughter. However, he now realized that he had offended another powerful person. Moreover, this powerful person was originally by their side. Perhaps he was helping them, but they had personally pushed this powerful person out, creating a hostile situation. At this moment, his heart was filled with intense regret. You, what did you just say? Lin Ling did not know what the crowd was thinking. Even if he knew, he would not care. Instead, he walked towards Lord Lion Lin. Lord Lion Lin was still sitting on the largest lion, but he did not dare to move. His eyes were wide open. The lion he was sitting on was trembling at this moment. Previously, he was arrogant and proud of Yushima, wanting Lin Ling to submit to him. However, now, he had no one by his side. Everyone was killed by Lin Ling. He had become a commander without an army. How could he still be imposing? I didn't say anything. Even though he was Shilong's third young master, at this moment, his heart was filled with fear. This was because he had never seen such a ferocious warrior. You previously said that you wanted me to submit to you. Lin Ling continued to walk forward, but every step he took felt like he was stepping on Lord Lion Lin's heart. The crowd could clearly see that the lion that Lord Lion Lin was sitting on had fallen to the ground. It had submitted to him. You previously said that you wanted to capture Xiao Yu. Lin Ling's expression was calm, but his eyes revealed an ominous glint. It was an ominous glint that was even more terrifying than the demon desert. These voices and this gaze made Lord Lion Lin even more flustered. If he had known that this young man was so powerful, he would not have come to this large caravan. My father is the king of lions. Our tribe has the Dragon King behind us. His body was trembling continuously, but he quickly spoke. Perhaps he wanted to use his backing to make Lin Ling fear him. This was also to bolster his own courage. Then let me ask you, where is the Dragon King? Lin Ling had already arrived in front of the tall lion. He lifted his head and looked at Lord Lion Lin. However, Lord Lion Lin and his mount did not have any intention of resisting. I don't know. How would I know about the Dragon King? Lord Lion Lin replied. Chapter 33:59. 3 breaths of time to escape. However, Lord Shilong knew that the calmer the tone, the more murderous it was. He kept shaking his head. I really don't know. Only my father knows. If you dare to kill me, Lord Shilong will flatten this place. Very well, I'll wait for your father. Lin Ling finally raised his head. His eyes were filled with killing intent. His voice shook the entire caravan and frightened Lord Lion Forest. This was because Lin Ling seemed to be saying that he had killed Lord Lion Forest, so his father should be coming. Lord Lion Forest finally realized that his backer, his courage, was completely useless against this delicate and pretty youth. He immediately roared, I admit that you are very powerful, but if you want to kill me, you might not succeed. As soon as he finished speaking, his head began to change. A mysterious power spread out, causing his head to become even bigger. His cold teeth flashed as he completely turned into a lion's head. Roar! He roared at the sky, and a deafening sound wave burst out. Puff! The people around felt as if they had been hit by something and immediately spat out a mouthful of blood, their faces pale. Looking at Lord Lion Forest again, his head had already turned into 2 lion heads. Borrowing the roar from before, he ran wildly towards the ground, wanting to escape from this place. Although his previous roar was extremely powerful, he still didn't dare to fight with Lin Ling. He only wanted to escape. At this moment, Lin Ling stood there quietly. His expression was calm, but there was a trace of surprise in the depths of his eyes. Because he noticed that the roar from before actually carried a powerful soul energy impact. Moreover, there was a mysterious energy within it, and it seemed to be the energy of the gods. However, this divine force was not pure, otherwise, Lin Ling would have been injured long ago. In this world, my realm essence is suppressed. Only my physical strength and soul force can display their might. Lin Ling also became more familiar with this world. What a powerful move. At this moment, everyone gradually recovered. Looking at Lord Lion Lin who was running away, their faces were filled with fear. Lin Ling! Amoza suddenly shouted because Lord Lion Forest was about to escape. If he escaped, he would definitely bring the Lion King over. No need to shout, he's already injured. Not far away, old Shang Chung shook his head. They were so far away but they were injured, let alone Lin Ling. Moreover, even if Lin Ling was not injured, what could he do? Lord Lion Forest had already fled far, far away. Lin Ling could do nothing. 1. But at this time, Lin Ling let out a soft sound from the corners of his mouth. 1. Everyone was puzzled. What was the meaning of this? 2. Lin Ling said again. He's counting again. Many people finally realized that Lin Ling seemed to be counting off, but why was he counting off? 3. Lin Ling finally raised his eyes and looked coldly in front of him. An invisible wind suddenly blew. When the crowd reacted, they realized that Lin Ling had disappeared. There was only a gust of wind at the place where he was standing. It was as if he had never been there. Run! Tell father immediately and let father devour him. At this moment, in front of the red soil, Lord Lion Forest had transformed into a 2-headed lion and was galloping on the ground. From afar, he looked like the king of beasts. However, this king of beasts looked a little panicked. I gave you 3 breaths of time and you only escaped here. How disappointing. Just as Lord Lion Lin thought that he had escaped death, an indifferent voice rang out from above his head, causing his 2 lion heads to narrow their eyes. When he turned his head to look, he saw a young man with his hands behind his back in the sky above his head, slowly following him. That speed was actually slightly faster than his. At this moment, this man was looking at him like a god. At this moment, he was even more panicked. An emotion called fear shrouded his entire body. You don't have to say anything because this won't change the outcome. In the sky, Lin Ling said calmly. His entire body turned into a meteor and smashed into the ground. With a boom, although Lord Lion Forest was running away, he could not block Lin Ling's punch. He was turned into a pile of meat paste and couldn't be more dead. You shouldn't have insulted my little you. Lin Ling swung his fists and strode towards the caravan. At this moment, the large merchant group was silent. Many people were even rubbing their eyes because Lin Ling had suddenly disappeared. It was as if he had turned into a gust of wind. When they finally reacted, they could only see a boom in front of them. Then, the huge Lord Lion Forest was turned into a pile of meat paste. On the contrary, the blue-robed young man slowly walked back. This meant that Lord Lion Forest was dead. He was killed by this mysterious young man. Most importantly, Lord Lion Forest had already escaped, but he still could not escape from the young man's punch. The lion core has been completely annihilated. Lin Ling is actually so powerful. Amoza looked at the young man walking back and shook his head continuously. He could not believe everything that had happened before his eyes. Not long ago, he met a young master in Yuxamo. The young master was lost. At that time, he thought that the young master was fearless because he did not know anything and dared to bring a few people to Yuxamo. Out of sympathy, he planned to bring the young master away from this troublesome place. But now, he finally understood why the young master dared to come to Yuxamo. It was not because he was ignorant but because he was powerful. The young master's strength is unfathomable. Even Du Kening was inwardly surprised. This world's boundary essence was suppressed. So when the lion roared, if it was him, he would definitely be injured. But Lin Ling was still fine. He heard that besides boundary essence, young Master Lin Ling was also extremely powerful in other areas. Today, he finally believed it. Lin Ling, you killed them all. After Lin Ling returned, the large merchant group was still silent. Only Amoza dared to speak. He still could not believe what had happened before his eyes. Didn't you see it? Lin Ling smiled. I did see it. Amoza smiled bitterly and hurriedly said, Lord Lion Lin is dead. The Lion King will definitely bring Shilong here. Lin Ling, you should leave quickly. After all, the Lion King is one of the tribes under the Dragon King. Hearing this, Lin Ling shook his head. He had always been curious about the Dragon King. So, it was even more impossible for him to leave. Amoza, shut up. But at this moment, the old merchant leader roared angrily. Then, he looked at Lin Ling and bowed. With a smile, he said, Lord Lin Ling, I have offended you previously. Now that the Lion King will definitely bring the warriors of the tribe here, I hope that Lord Lin Ling will take responsibility for what you did. You must stop the Lion King. Don't leave. Obviously, he was afraid that if Lin Ling escaped, the Shilong would vent his anger on the large merchant group. That's right, that's right. Lord Lin Ling, as a warrior, you can't escape. A warrior who escapes will be abandoned by the gods for the rest of his life. Chapter 3360. The Lion King has arrived. Of course I won't leave. Unfortunately, how could they hide their intentions from Lin Ling? Hence, Lin Ling nodded because he had no intention of leaving in the first place. Let's go. We'll wait for the Lion King outside the caravan. Following that, Lin Ling could not be bothered to say anything else. He led Xiaoyu and Amoza's caravan away. Everyone in the merchant group became nervous because they were deeply afraid that Lin Ling would flee. However, they didn't dare stop Lin Ling, so they could only watch as Lin Ling and the others left. Fortunately, they noticed that Lin Ling's group hadn't gone far and had stayed a short distance away. Good, good, good. The old merchant leader smiled in satisfaction. He thought that as long as Shilong arrives, Lin Ling would be able to stop them. Even if he could not stop them, they could still push all the blame onto Lin Ling. Unknowingly, evening came quietly. The red earth sky seemed to have been dyed red with blood. A Moses caravan was camped under a red earth pillar not far from the caravan. They were roasting meat, drinking wine, and enjoying this hard-won time. Of course, their gazes would occasionally turn towards the handsome man with a hint of worship in their eyes. To be able to defeat the Lion Legion all by himself, Lord Lin Ling must have the 7 Shima's power. Unfortunately, they did not know that according to their calculations, Lin Ling had a total of 12 Shima's power. In addition to the fusion of his 5 great dantians, his strength was estimated to be 14 Shima's power. Although this world suppressed Jia Yuan was not completely useless. When the 5 great dantians fused together, he still had 2 Shima's power. Soul Force. Lord Shi Lin's soul force was not weak. Lin Ling muttered to himself as he sat by the fire and looked at the fragrant meat being roasted. Beside him, Xiao Yu and Mo Lin were also staring at the barbecued meat. Their faces were covered in sweat, but they ignored it and continued to stare at the barbecued meat. It was as if they could not wait for the delicious meat. Just as the barbecue was done, a cloud of dust finally appeared on the horizon. It was as if a wave was crashing towards them. The deafening sound of the wave caused the earth to boil. At this moment, everyone stopped what they were doing. Their gazes were fixed in the distance, and their moods were instantly stifled. Shilong was finally here. Roar. Even though they were far away, everyone could hear an earth-shattering lion's roar. This caused the hearts of the people in the caravan to drop to the bottom. Similarly, the people of the Amoza caravan were trembling. They subconsciously looked at Lin Ling. Even now, they were not sure if Lin Ling could stop the Lion King. However, Lin Ling was still eating his barbecued meat, as if he didn't notice the explosion in front of him. Kill! Kill! As time passed, the experts of the Shilong arrived. They rode their lions and charged towards the caravan. They did not say much. They only wanted to kill all of Yuximo. The caravan immediately cried out. They could not stop the Shilong and could only watch as they were slaughtered. The old merchant leader's face was as pale as paper. He had a few warriors block the experts in front of him. Then, he ran towards Lin Ling. Lord Lin Ling, save us. The old merchant leader's voice came from afar. Not long after, he appeared in front of Lin Ling and the rest. Why? Lin Ling was still eating his barbecued meat and did not even look at the old merchant leader. The old merchant leader was stunned. Lin Ling asked why. Wasn't that nonsense? He did not dare to reprimand Lin Ling and hurriedly said, "The Lion King has brought the warriors of the tribe. He's here to kill you." I know. However, if he wants to kill me, then so be it. Whether he can kill me or not, that will depend on his ability. Lin Ling said coldly. But, he's also killing our caravan. The old merchant leader stared at Lin Ling and became more and more anxious. What does it have to do with me? If the Lion King wants to kill me, then he can come. If he wants to kill your caravan, then you can go and stop him. Isn't that enough? Lin Ling said again. Ah! The old merchant leader's eyes widened. How could he stop the Lion King? Now get lost. Seeing the old merchant leader's shameless appearance, Lin Ling finally said coldly. I'm not going. I can't watch the caravan die. Moreover, if I go back, I'll die too unless you kill me. The old merchant leader shook his head continuously as if he was going to throw caution to the wind. Do you really think I don't dare? Or do you think you have any weight in my heart? Lin Ling's eyes revealed a trace of murderous intent. He looked at the old merchant leader and his emotionless eyes made the old merchant leader's heart beat violently. He treated Lin Ling as his last hope. However, Lin Ling did not treat him as a friend. This was because when Lord Lion Lin came, the caravan did not treat Lin Ling as a friend either. They only wanted Lin Ling to die for them. Now, they treated Lin Ling as a friend. This was too shameless. Get lost! Lin Ling shouted angrily again. The old merchant leader let out a cry of horror and quickly ran away. At this moment, his heart was filled with endless regret. If he knew that Lin Ling was so strong, he would not have sacrificed Lin Ling and caused Lin Ling's dissatisfaction. Now, no one could help the caravan. Don't kill, I know who killed Lord Lion Lin, they're over there. The old merchant leader shouted as he ran. Kill! At this moment, on the caravan side, countless lions were still slaughtering. The leader was a man who was 5 meters tall, and he let out a cold roar. The Lion King. This was the leader of the Shirlong. His head was full of sharp mane and he looked exactly like a lion. However, he was a lion with the head of a lion. Over there. He let out a low voice and then waved his hand. Kill everyone in the caravan. Leave no one alive. After saying that, he led a large number of lions and charged towards Lin Ling. Leave no one alive. The old merchant leader sat on the ground with a thud. He knew that the caravan was finished today. It was all over. Roar! Just as he was thinking, a huge lion swallowed his head, causing blood to flow like a river on the ground. In the distance, the people of the Amosa caravan were trembling. Terrifying, too terrifying. Facing the Lion King's army, they simply could not muster up any strength to resist. However, at this moment, a person stood up beside them. It was Lin Ling. Lin Ling held a wine bowl in his hand and walked forward. Lord Lin Ling. Seeing Lin Ling stand up, Amosa and the rest were excited. Savage Sword and the rest also wanted to help Lin Ling, but they were rejected by Lin Ling because in this world, Savage Sword and the rest were not strong. Who killed my son? At this moment, a furious roar came from the front. It was filled with killing intent. If it's that useless lion, then I killed him. Chapter 33:61. Against the Lion King. The Lion King had the power of 1,000 worlds. If this Lion King was placed in the outside world, he would be considered an incredible expert. After all, he did not have any world essence. If he cultivated world essence in the outside world, in addition to his own strength, he would definitely be extraordinary. It's you. Kill him. An angry voice came from the front. The Lion King also looked at Lin Ling. Not only was there killing intent in his eyes, there was also a hint of surprise. This was because this young man was not afraid of them and could still remain so calm. Senior, I will kill him. Father, I will do it. Beside the Lion King, 2 warriors ran out at this moment. They were both tall and mighty, with a magnificent aura. Go. The ancient Lion King also issued an order to his warriors. We will definitely take his life. The 2 Shirlong warriors placed their fists on their chests. Then, their bodies began to change. It was as if a large number of tentacles had extended out. These tentacles were invisible and extremely mysterious. The lions beneath them roared angrily and were forcibly torn apart by the invisible tentacles. Then, they fused into the bodies of the 2 warriors. At this moment, they, who originally had lion heads and human bodies, became even taller and more ferocious. Seeing this, Lin Ling's eyes lit up and he stopped in his tracks. What a strange method. He realized that the thing that tore apart the mount seemed to be soul power. These people actually had soul power and were using it like this? This was because Lin Ling also sensed that the strength of the 2 warriors had reached the power of 900 worlds. With this kind of strength, just one person was enough to sweep away a large caravan. Brat, remember, the one who will kill you is by Simo. I am Lord Lion Mountain. You killed my brother, so I will torture you to death. I will tear off your flesh piece by piece. The two transformed into lions with two lion heads. Their auras were extremely tyrannical. With a pounce, the void seemed to shatter. Their strength and speed had clearly reached a very high level. As for the Shilong people, they all stopped running. Riding on the lions, they sneered at this scene. They knew that the brat was going to be torn apart. Lin Ling continued to stand there, his gaze extremely calm as he slowly drew the tyrannical song sword. A dazzling sword appeared, and a wisp of demonic chi and murderous intent swam around the sword, causing the red earth to suddenly turn cold. The two people in front rushed over, and one of them narrowed his eyes. That sword gave him an extremely sharp feeling. Roar! He opened his huge mouth, wanting to swallow Lin Ling. That lion's mouth seemed to have the power to bite through a world. Clang! However, Lin Ling did not retreat or dodge. He just raised his sword. Let me chew your sword to pieces. The huge mouth had already arrived, mixed with the power of 900 worlds, but Lin Ling's sword also moved, bloody light flashed. The power of 1,000 worlds extended from his arm and reached the tyrannical song sword. This sword had followed Lin Ling and had killed countless people. Today, in this independent rainbow world, the pace of slaughter had arrived. Whoosh! The sword slashed out horizontally, revealing its sharpness. Under countless gazes, the huge lion seemed to be torn apart from its mouth. Finally, the entire lion's body was cut in half. Bang! The two halved corpses fell heavily on the ground, causing the surroundings to instantly become silent. It's your turn. Lin Ling's expression was still calm, but his eyes were incomparably cold. He held the sword with both hands and slashed down heavily. At this moment, Lord Lion Mountain's pupils trembled violently. This young man's sword was actually so powerful. Even the power of 900 worlds was cut down with a single slash. He finally wanted to retreat. He never expected that the person the caravan found from nowhere would be so powerful. Unfortunately, it was obviously too late to retreat now. Lin Ling's sword slashed down, and blood flowed like a river. The huge lion's body was cut in half, and Lin Ling walked over from within the lion's body. On both sides of the lion's body were the lion's corpse that slowly fell to the ground. Bang! When the dull sound fell, the people of Shilong felt a huge wave in their hearts. 2 slashes to kill the warrior of their tribe. His strength was beyond their imagination. Everyone, move out. The Lion King's expression became more serious, and he waved his hand again. Kill. All the lions moved out, pouncing towards Lin Ling, causing the mountains and rivers to collapse and the earth to shake. That terrifying scene caused a Moses caravan to tremble with fear. In the morning, Lin Ling destroyed the Lion Legion with a single punch. In the evening, Lin Ling wanted to use a single slash to kill the Lion Legion. This seemed impossible. However, to Lin Ling, this was not impossible. His sword was now even more dazzling, and his strength had increased to 1,200 worlds. Swoosh! The huge sword was like a rainbow, and with a single slash, 3 lions were cut in half. Fresh blood spilled from the sky, and before the blood spilled on the ground, Lin Ling attacked again. Another 2 lions were killed, and for a moment, blood flowed like a river. Lin Ling stepped forward, killing 10 lions with a single step. No one could stop him. In the sky, the setting sun was like blood, and on the ground, there was a rain of blood. The two scenes combined, forming a beautiful and boiling scene. So strong, it must be the strength of 12 Yuxamo. In the distance, the Lion King still did not move. His cold eyes looked at the youth under the setting sun, and he knew that he had underestimated this youth. Pa! The ground was filled with lion corpses, and blood was flowing. Light footsteps could be heard from the blood. Under the illumination of the setting sun, Lin Ling held his huge sword and walked towards the Lion King step by step. It's your turn. Who are you? The two of them looked at each other and asked casually. Who I am is not important. What is important is that you should know where the Dragon King is. Lin Ling said indifferently. This was also the reason why he stayed behind to wait for the Lion King. Defeat me, and you will know. The Lion King placed his palm beside his mouth, and lightly licked it. His palm became huge, and his claws were extremely sharp, just like a lion's claw. Then you will definitely tell me. Lin Ling nodded. 120 world speed erupted, and with the huge sword in his hand, he slashed down from the sky. That sword slashed down from the sky, as if it was cutting the blood-red setting sun into two. Boom! The Lion King raised his hand to block. His claws collided with the huge sword, and dazzling sparks blossomed. The strength of 12 Yuxamo is only a so-so. Sigh. The Lion King looked at Lin Ling under the setting sun, and said indifferently. However, he was somewhat shocked in his heart. Only after clashing with Lin Ling did he know how strong this youth was. Is that so? Sigh. Lin Ling smiled, and without wasting any time, he raised his sword and slashed down again. Clang! The ground split open, but the Lion King still managed to block that sword. Lin Ling's sword continued to slash down, and he wanted to see how long the Lion King could block it. Boom! 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 On the desert, a man and a lion crazily clashed. Chapter 3362. The power brought by soul force. Although I only have the strength of 10 Jade Shima and you are stronger than me, my body is more powerful. If this continues, you won't be able to defeat me. On the contrary, when you are exhausted, I will be able to easily tear you apart. The Lion King was shocked by Lin Ling's strength, but he still sneered. Is that so? Lin Ling still said the same thing, but this time, he used the world origin of his 5 dantian. His sword had become even heavier. If placed in the 10,000 worlds, one sword could easily break 1,000 realms whirling expert. This was the strength of an absolute swordsman. What? Sensing Lin Ling's sword becoming stronger, the Lion King was shocked. The current you still dares to say those words. Lin Ling's strength gradually increased from 1,200 worlds to 1,400 worlds. Swoosh! The final sword, blood blossomed, and cut off the Lion King's arm. On the Amoza caravan side, everyone was shocked. He won. Lin Ling actually cut off the Lion King's arm, this was too unbelievable. Very good, you have injured me. At this moment, the Lion King looked at his severed arm on the ground. His voice turned deep and it was filled with rage. Where is the Dragon King? Lin Ling held his sword diagonally, his face was still cold. This battle is not over yet. The Lion King suddenly laughed, his laughter was very sinister and cold. At the same time, an indescribable strength spread out, as if invisible tentacles were growing, and these tentacles were bigger and thicker than the previous two. Soul force. Lin Ling's brows suddenly furrowed. The Lion King was still laughing, those invisible tentacles began to spread out, and the lion corpses on the ground flew over and merged with his body. At the same time, the powerful strength continued to stack, from 1,000 worlds to 1,500 worlds, surpassing Lin Ling's strength. Moreover, this did not stop, and finally, it reached 2,000 worlds. A huge monster also appeared. This monster had lion heads all over its body, and it was dripping with blood. It looked extremely terrifying. It was several hundred meters tall, like a mountain. This caused all of Amoza's caravan to tremble, as if they had seen the end of the world. This was the true Lion King. No, he could be called a lion demon. Your end is here. The Lion King let out a hoarse voice. He moved. Although his body was huge, he was extremely agile. Clang! Lin Ling's eyes narrowed. He raised his sword to block, but he found a powerful force coming at him, causing him to almost lose his grip on his sword. Then, there was a rumbling sound, and he was sent flying backwards, leaving a deep mark on the hard ground. You use your soul force like this. However, Lin Ling quickly stood up, wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and said indifferently. The power I possess is not something you can understand. The Lion King roared at the sky and attacked again. In an instant, it arrived in front of Lin Ling. Its huge claws swept down in a simple and crude manner. Boom! However, at this time, the world-devouring beast began to appear behind Lin Ling. Its huge mouth made him transform into a monster. What? The Lion King was shocked. He found that the effect of his claw was much weaker than before, because the young man seemed to have transformed. Bang, bang, bang. Even so, Lin Ling was still retreating. What are you? The Lion King let out a shocked voice, but Lin Ling did not say a word. His face was still cold. If you don't say it, I will make you say it. The Lion King pounced on Lin Ling again, sweeping toward Lin Ling with great power. This time, the dragon god appeared behind Lin Ling, and it was a scene of two dragons soaring into the sky. One was the heavenly dragon protector, and the other was the grand serene wind dragon. After these two talents were displayed, Lin Ling's defense increased by a lot. Clang! The big sword and the claws clashed, and the ground instantly cracked. However, this time, Lin Ling did not retreat. The reason was that he had unleashed all three of his talents, increasing his strength by 1 point. Of course, if he could use realm essence, the Lion King would have been easily killed. Dragon, 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 you are the Dragon King's bloodline. At this moment, the Lion King looked at Lin Ling in shock. His eyes were wide open. The more he fought, the more mysterious this young man became. He could not see through him at all. That is not the case. On the contrary, I am the Dragon King's enemy. Lin Ling raised his head and said coldly. And the Lion King kept shaking his head. He couldn't believe everything that was happening in front of him. However, his eyes soon became ice cold. Although he didn't know why this young man had the blood of Lord Dragon King, but in the vast land of Yushi, there was only one Lord Dragon King, no other Dragon King could exist. Even if that is the case, so what? Die! The Lion King unleashed all of his strength. He raised both of his palms up high and then stomped down heavily. With a rumbling sound, the pair of huge feet were blocked by Lin Ling's sword. However, the Lion King opened his huge lion mouth and bit the tyrannical song sword. With a pull, a terrifying force erupted. The tyrannical song sword left Lin Ling's hand and flew into the distance. Moreover, that huge force also caused Lin Ling's body to fly backward. He smashed into the ground and caused a huge wave of earth to rise. Ha ha ha, without a sword, how are you going to fight against me? The Lion King's morale was greatly boosted. He ran with all four of his limbs and once again pounced on Lin Ling. From afar, it looked like a god's mount was running wildly, causing the mountains and rivers to shatter. My lord! Duing and the others had been watching the battle. At this moment, they finally started to worry. Although the people of this world could not use boundary essence, their physical strength and that mysterious power were too strong. The Lion King arrived at the place where Lin Ling smashed down. He raised both of his legs up high as if he wanted to stomp on the ground and ruthlessly stomped down on the place where Lin Ling was. This stomp undoubtedly caused everyone's face to turn gloomy. They knew that Lin Ling was dead for sure. Boom! 2,000 boundary essence erupted. Cracks appeared on the ground. Then, with Lin Ling's location as the center, endless waves of earth rolled out. The people of the Emoza caravan were all sent flying backward. However, they still looked at Lin Ling's direction with worry. Lin Ling! Everyone was shouting. They did not know if Lin Ling could still be alive. I never thought that soul force could be used like this. However, at this moment, an indifferent voice came out from the rolling waves of earth. Everyone's pupils constricted. When they looked carefully, they discovered that Lin Ling had stood up at this moment. Moreover, both of his hands were supporting the sky. He actually relied on his two arms to block the Lion King's two huge claws. That thin and weak figure, under the illumination of the setting sun, was undoubtedly extremely dazzling. How is this possible? The Lion King let out a sound of disbelief. Because I also have soul force. Moreover, it has reached 8,000 levels. On the ground, Lin Ling raised his clear eyes and calmly said. His words caused the Lion King's body to tremble. He lowered his head and realized that Lin Ling had changed. He had also become like a monster. His skin was as black as the night sky. Moreover, a large amount of scales could be seen on his black skin. It seemed to be dragon armor. Moreover, his palms seemed to have turned into claws. Chapter 3363. Fusion Talent. And this form was the same as his Lion King form, using his soul force as a medium to fuse the external energy into his body. However, the Lion King had merged with other lions. As for Lin Ling, he seemed to have merged with the realm-swallowing beast, the Sky Dragon Protector, and the Great Nether Wind Dragon. Most importantly, this method was learned from the Lion King. More importantly, Lin Ling's soul force is stronger than the Lion King's. For the Lion King, it was as if he saw the arrival of the Dragon King. This handsome young man was actually a god. A Dragon King of the Yuxamo continent. Thank you. At this moment, Lin Ling looked at the Lion King indifferently. However, the corners of his mouth curled up into a smile. He realized that by using soul force as a medium, he could actually fuse several great talents together. This kind of method probably didn't exist in Lin Ling's world. It was a fighting method unique to this world. And after fusing the three great talents, Lin Ling felt the power in his body surge out, giving him the illusion that he was a dragon god. Now I'll ask you one more time. Where is the Dragon King? Lin Ling was still calmly looking at the Lion King. His voice became hoarse. Caw caw caw. At the same time, he exerted a little force in his hands. The Lion King's huge claws produced the sound of bones breaking. The strength of this force had exceeded the range that he could withstand. Go east from the Demon Desert. The Lion King shouted anxiously. His eyes were filled with fear. At this point, he already regarded Lin Ling as the Dragon King. Thank you. Lin Ling nodded slightly. He swiped his pitch-black dragon claw forward, unleashing a force that surpassed the strength of 2,000 worlds. Swoosh! The sound of blood gushing out could be heard. Under the gaze of the Emoza caravan, the Lion King that was as huge as a mountain was torn into two. Terrifying. One had to know that the Lion King was bigger than a mountain. And the person who tore it apart was only a half-human monster that looked like a black dragon. Blood sprinkled down like rain. Lin Ling bathed in the rain. At this moment, his heart was filled with a tyrannical and domineering aura. Brutal and ferocious, this came from the realm-swallowing beast. The unique and righteous came from the bloodline of the dragon god. After fusing the three talents together, he realized that he was about to turn into a monster. Soul force can actually be used like this. Lin Ling just stood there quietly. He allowed the blood to wash over him. His dark skin started to absorb the blood. This was the world-swallowing beast's swallowing talent. Most importantly, he discovered that the Lion King's method not only allowed him to fuse with the body of a monster beast, but it also allowed him to fuse with his innate talent. Moreover, according to the level of his innate talent, the strength of his soul force would determine his strength. I'm afraid the fusion of the three great innate gifts has given me the power of 3,000 worlds. A confident smile appeared on the corner of Lin Ling's mouth. If he fused with his innate talent, he would be able to defeat many saints with just his physical body. Time quietly passed. The blood on the ground gradually dried up. Most of it was absorbed by Lin Ling, and Lin Ling's skin started to return to normal. After that, he immediately felt tired. He realized that using his soul force as a medium to forcefully fuse with his innate talent consumed a lot of his soul force. To put it bluntly, his soul force was like an invisible arm that pulled the realm-swallowing beast and the dragon god's power over and fused them into Lin Ling's body. Young Master! Young Master! Seeing that Lin Ling had recovered, Doing and the others were overjoyed. As for Amoza and the others, their faces were pale. They looked at Lin Ling as if he was the god of the land of Yuxamo. Plop! Without any hesitation, they immediately knelt down. Their faces were full of reverence. Lin Ling had already recovered. When he saw this scene, he smiled bitterly and shook his head. Right now, he had become a tyrannical Lion King. After that, he walked forward and helped Amoza and the others up. However, Amoza and the others were still full of reverence. They did not even dare to look at Lin Ling. Big brother Lin Ling. On the other hand, Amoolin was fearless because she did not know. She walked over and held Lin Ling's hand. To her, she did not know how scary the previous Lin Ling was. However, she knew that the previous Lin Ling had saved her. Xiaoyu's big brother was indeed amazing. Amoolin, big brother is leaving. From now on, you have to protect your father and the caravan. Lin Ling carried Amoolin, and Amoolin kissed Lin Ling on the cheek. She looked at Xiaoyu reluctantly. Seeing this, Lin Ling put Amoolin down. The two little girls' eyes were wet. Amoolin, I'll come and see you again. Xiaoyu, I'll come and see you too. The two little girls held hands and promised each other. Lin Ling was happy for their friendship. After pondering for a while, he took out some treasures to help Amoolin change her talent and cleanse her marrow. As long as he helped Amoolin lay a good foundation, Amoolin would be stronger than Amoza and the others in the future. It was a pity that they could not cultivate boundary essence in this world. Otherwise, Lin Ling could give them some guidance on cultivation. Then, Lin Ling took out some body-tempering treasures and handed them to Amoza and the others. Lin Ling, this is not good. Amoza and the others were instantly grateful. Lin Ling had saved them and now he was giving them treasures. This made them feel extremely guilty. Knowing each other is fate. Perhaps this is also fated. So, accept it. Lin Ling said with a smile. Amoza and the others could only nod. Moreover, they gave Lin Ling the most solemn warrior salute in Yushi. In the future, no matter how they changed, they would always remember Lin Ling. Lin Ling held Xiaoyu's hand and led Do Haiying and the others away. To him, this was just a memory of his life. In the future, when he recalled all his memories, he would feel that his life was not in vain. He did not know that because of him, a powerful tribe was born in Yushi. In the future, this tribe would dominate Yushi. Moreover, the god they worshipped was a man with black skin and dragon claws. This had already become the tribe's statue, the god they worshipped and passed down for thousands of years. Of course, this was a story for another time. At this moment, Lin Ling was walking along the red soil towards the ancient desert. Although this trip to the Rainbow World did not increase his strength by much, it allowed him to learn a new way of fighting. It was a different way of using soul force. This made Lin Ling curious. What kind of God created this world? Why were his laws and his Tao so different? After passing through the red soil, a scorching desert appeared in front of him. This desert was even hotter than Yushi. To Lin Ling, this kind of heat was equivalent to nothing. However, to Do Haing and the others, this was a kind of torture. They had to rely on their boundary essence to resist the heat. Moreover, if they walked for a long time, they would have to recover their boundary essence. This was also the benefit of Lin Ling's triple cultivation of essence, qi, and spirit. Walking towards the east, the vast desert was desolate and gave off a feeling of loneliness. Chapter 3364. The Legend of the Rainbow World. Brother, I'm thirsty. Occasionally, Xiao Yu's voice could be heard. Lin Ling hugged her and took out some treasures, which made her giggle. Rumble. After walking for an unknown period of time, a deafening roar could be heard from the front. Looking around, at the end of the desert, there was a huge black spot. The sound was coming from there. East, the direction is correct. Unless the sun rises from the west, could it be that the black spot is where the Dragon King is? Lin Ling stopped and frowned as he looked into the distance. He could sense that the black spot was actually a huge black whirlpool. Let's continue. Lin Ling continued on his journey. He didn't dare to guarantee anything for this trip. Whether the Dragon King was a friend or foe, or how strong he was, etc. However, he had a feeling that if he didn't go to the Dragon King, he would definitely regret it. Since he had made up his mind, Lin Ling continued forward without hesitation. Rumble. As he moved forward, the sound in front became louder and louder. Moreover, in the ancient desert, an ancient city sat on the ground. What was surprising was that the city was made of thick and heavy rocks. The surface of the rocks was filled with spikes and beast bones, which made it look extremely ferocious. There's actually an ancient city in this desert. Do Afterimage couldn't help but widen his eyes. It's not an ancient city, but a rock and sand boat. Lin Ling said with a smile as he activated his 10,000 elephant magic eyes. This was the first time he had seen such a huge rock and sand boat. Moreover, the entire boat was made of rocks. The person who built the boat must have spent a lot of effort. Brother, is that a boat? Why isn't it moving? Xiao Yu blinked her big eyes and asked curiously. Do you see that huge canvas? That's the driving force of the boat. The wind in the demon desert is very strong. When the canvas is blown, it can move the rock and sand boat. As for why it's not moving now, it's because the wind has stopped. There's another reason. Do you see that black whirlpool in the distance? They seem to be afraid of that black whirlpool. Lin Ling explained with a smile. Young master is right. That boat can't move at this moment because there is no wind. However, this boat is also amazing. If there is wind, then it can walk freely in the demon desert. Moreover, with the protection of the rocks, the people on the boat will be safe and sound. Do Afterimage said with a smile. My lord, look over there, there's another boat. At this time, Cruel Sword also said. In this vast desert, there was more than one rock and sand boat. There were a few boats in the distant desert, there was a Can's XN can obviously, they couldn't move without wind. Let's go. Lin Ling smiled. He was originally very interested in the rock-sand boat, but he didn't want to miss the black vortex, so he set off again. Cans can, dragon is can. Cans can. Cans can. Cans can. Cans. Huh, the sand boat has closed the cabin. They can't enter the sand boat unless they can pay more divine coins. I'm afraid the divine coins will be 10 times more expensive than usual. After all, they missed the time to enter the boat. A large number of voices were heard, with a hint of schadenfreude. Hey, do you want to enter the boat? You have 8,000 divine coins on you. At this time, a burly man appeared on the sand boat and looked at Lin Ling and the others. Yes, yes. Xiao Yu replied curiously. She had always been interested in the sand boat. Get lost, let your parents speak. However, the burly man snorted coldly, thinking that the little girl was teasing him. After all, when was it a child's turn to speak on such an important matter? Seeing this, Xiao Yu didn't dare to speak and her eyes became moist. We don't have any divine coins. Lin Ling stopped and looked indifferently at the sand boat in the distance. Damn it, what a waste of my saliva. The burly man said angrily. Then, as if he was unwilling to give up, he said again, my sand boat just so happens to have a few empty seats. If you don't have any divine coins, you can become slaves. This way, you can live. Slaves. This sentence seemed to have touched Remnant Sword's reverse scale. A dagger quietly appeared in his hand. This was because he was born a slave. However, Lin Ling quickly pressed his hand and shook his head. You don't have to do anything. These people will definitely die. Get lost. Then, Lin Ling shouted angrily at the sand boat. Damn it, what a shameless fellow. The burly man's face turned ugly. Captain, why do you have to be so harsh on them? If they want to die, let them be. Anyway, they will definitely be torn to pieces by the dragon demon. Hee, I haven't seen the dragon demon eat humans in a long time. Today, I finally get to see it. On the huge sand boat, mocking voices came out. Many people looked at Lin Ling and the others as if they were looking at dead people. In the rainbow world, there had always been a legend. A long time ago, a demon came here and specialized in eating humans. This made the demon desert infamous. In the end, this demon attracted the wrath of God. Under God's punishment, the demon was locked in a cage in the depths of the desert forever. However, the demon was called a demon because it could not die. It could only be sealed. It let its people wreak havoc in the desert. Every month, on a certain day, its people would massacre the land. And today was the day when the demon's people massacred the land. This rule had been passed down for thousands of years. Young master, something doesn't seem right. Du Kening also noticed that these people were gloating and couldn't help but say solemnly. I know. Lin Ling nodded. His gaze was fixed on the black vortex in the distance. He sensed a wisp of demonic energy permeating the air, and it was increasing in number. Not only was this demonic energy violent, it was also mixed with a wisp of dragon chi. This made him even more certain that the Dragon King was in the black vortex. Rumble. At this moment, the desert began to shake, and countless terrifying cries sounded in front of them. The sand boats immediately fell silent. Although they were hiding in the sand boats, they were deeply afraid that the sand boats could not stop the invasion of the demons. They're out. Someone shouted, causing countless gazes to turn to the front. A black dot appeared in the black vortex. It gradually increased in number and gradually became bigger. Upon closer inspection, they were strange beasts. They had the limbs of a lizard, but they also had the heads of a dragon. They looked extremely clumsy, but they were charging forward. Their eyes were bloodthirsty, as if they wanted to eat everyone. What is this? Ken Sword exclaimed. This is the first time I've seen such demon beasts. Lin Ling frowned. Then, he realized that the lizard-like dragon demons were very fast. They swept up a sandstorm and swept over. Don't leave me. Chapter 3365. Translator, Atlas Studios Editor, Atlas Studios. A new demon. At this moment, many people on the sand boat were staring at Lin Ling and the rest. All of them sneered. At this moment, they had completely forgotten about their own safety. They were already anticipating Lin Ling and the rest to be torn apart by the dragon demons. Perhaps, this was the dark side of humans. They were afraid of the dragon demons, but they also wanted to see the dragon demons wreak havoc on others. This way, they would feel better than others. Rumble. The huge lizard dragon demon was getting closer and closer to Lin Ling and the rest. Young master. Do Afterimage's expression became even more serious. A dagger appeared in Savage Sword's hand. He was ready to fight to the death. However, Lin Ling was still calm. Since he was looking for the Dragon King, he definitely couldn't avoid facing these dragon demons. Don't move. Lin Ling still shouted coldly. As the dragon demons in front got closer, a fierce aura and dragon aura began to spread from his body. Unknowingly, his body had turned pitch black, and he had grown taller. His arms had turned into dragon claws, and his entire being seemed to have transformed into a half-dragon man. Roar! Almost at the same time, the lizard dragon demon at the front had arrived. It opened its bloody mouth and roared, wanting to devour Lin Ling and the rest. Clang! A dagger appeared in Savage Sword's hand. He was ready to protect Lin Ling with his life. Don't move. However, Do Afterimage stopped him because he realized that something was wrong with Lin Ling. At this moment, Lin Ling's fierce aura and dragon aura became more intense. It was as though they had materialized. His soul power was baring its fangs and brandishing its claws around his body. Roar! Lin Ling also roared. In fact, it was even louder than the lizard dragon demon. Roar! However, the lizard dragon demon roared again. It was filled with the primeval aura of a demon beast. Moreover, more and more dragon demons arrived around it and roared at Lin Ling. It was as though the demon kings were fighting. It was a clash of auras. What's going on? In the distant desert, those sand boats let out cries of surprise. The scene in front of them was too shocking. This was because a strange half-demon was roaring at the lizard dragon demons. All the lizard dragon demons stopped and roared back. It was as if one person was fighting against the entire flood of dragon demons. Roar! Lin Ling's ferocious nature seemed to have been triggered. His roaring became louder and louder. Around his body, black sludge appeared. It was baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. This was the world-swallowing beast. Roar! Lin Ling roared again. On his left arm, the heavenly dragon protector appeared. Furious dragon soars to the heavens. The great nether wind dragon appeared on his right arm and swept through the sky. Gradually, the auras of the lizard dragons withered, and they began to lie down. Finally, they circled around Lin Ling and charged towards the sand boat in the distance. Perhaps, on Lin Ling's body, they detected the most primitive aura of the dragon god. Heavens, that slave actually didn't get swallowed. It doesn't make sense. What did that slave do? Such a scene shocked all of the sand boats. Could it be that this youth was the incarnation of a devil? Rumble. While they were still in shock, a large number of lizard dragons had arrived. They charged towards the sand boat without fear of death. The rocks of the sand boat had a large number of spikes. In an instant, many of the lizard dragons were killed. Good. Seeing that the sand boat was impregnable, everyone secretly wiped away their sweat. However, even though many of the lizard dragons had died, the lizard dragons behind did not stop. They continued to charge towards the sand boat. Something's not right. The people on the sand boat could not be happy at this moment. Caw caw caw. As more and more lizard dragon demons died, cracks began to appear on the thick rocks of the sand boat. Oh no! Everyone was frightened by this scene. Without the sand boat, how could they block the dragon demon? They were dead. They were dead. At this moment, they did not have the time to gloat. They were all worried about themselves. Boom! As the sand boat completely exploded, everyone was exposed to the huge lizard dragons. Their bodies trembled, and they did not have the heart to fight at all. Suddenly, the captain of the sand boat looked into the distance. He vaguely saw that the people from before were riding the lizard dragons and heading towards the black vortex. The lizard dragons were actually obeying the orders of those people. This news undoubtedly shocked everyone. "Sir, save me!" the captain roared into the distance. Unfortunately, those people rode the lizard dragon demon further and further away. No. Instead, they were greeted by the bloody maw of the lizard dragon demon. The captain was torn in half. His upper body was bitten by a dragon. He was not dead for the time being. His eyes stared into the distance. He suddenly thought, if he had let the youth on the boat, what would have happened? Unfortunately, there were no ifs in the demon desert. Gulp. The captain's upper body was finally swallowed into the stomach of a lizard dragon. Sha Jingtian's sand boat has been destroyed. On the sand boat in the distance, everyone looked at the tragic scene in front of them. They wanted to help, but there was nothing they could do about it. Although the sand boat could stop the lizard dragons, that was only relative. Generally speaking, out of 10 sand boats, 3 would definitely be destroyed. Therefore, it was also a matter of luck. If there were no sand boats, they would have died without a doubt. Who are those people? They actually gained the lizard dragon's approval. Then, everyone looked into the distance. Their eyes were filled with shock. It's not just approval, it's making the lizard dragons obey orders. An old man with a face full of vicissitudes muttered to himself. "Uncle Ah Lin, why did this happen?" The others asked, trembling with fear. "I don't know. Perhaps that person is the demon of the demon desert." The old man shook his head. He was not familiar with this kind of mythical story. However, he suddenly thought of something. God once said that when a new demon appears in the rainbow realm, the old demon will be killed. Perhaps that person is the new demon. It can't be. Even God can't kill the demon. Can that person? God's prophecies are never wrong. The sand boats began to make noises one after another. Many people recalled the ancient legends of the gods. At this moment, in front of the huge black vortex, a large number of lizard dragons were moving forward. They clustered around one of the lizard dragons as if they were welcoming their king. On the lizard, Xiao Yu, Du Lingying, Remnant Sword, and the others were shocked. They could only look at the man in black in front of the lizard dragons. "Young master, you're so powerful." Du Lingying's heart kept roaring. In his heart, Lin Ling was simply a dragon king at this moment. These lizard dragons are formed by the fusion of the Dragon King's bloodline and other monsters. Therefore, they can sense the dragon god's bloodline in me and obey my orders. At this moment, a low voice sounded. It made Du Lingying and the others laugh. Previously, they were afraid that Lin Ling would become a monster who had lost his mind. "Brother, are you okay?" Xiao Yu's big eyes stared at the man in black. Although this man was extremely terrifying and looked like a monster, his silhouette was her dearest brother. Chapter 3366. A Quiet Mountain Range. Lin Ling, although he had merged with the realm-devouring beast and the dragon god bloodline, his soul power was strong, so the side effects of the bloodline did not affect him at all. "That's great." Seeing this, Do Afterimage and the rest smiled. The real trouble is about to begin. Lin Ling quickly stopped smiling and looked at the black vortex that was getting closer and closer. He had a feeling that if he could come out of the black vortex alive, Lin Ling would be reborn and become a real dragon god. This was why he was so determined to enter the black vortex. The rolling vortex was like a giant mouth that wanted to swallow everything. As it got closer, Lin Ling and the rest looked more serious. Then, they disappeared into the black vortex. Rumble. The black vortex was still rolling, as if it was leading to another world. After an unknown amount of time, the giant vortex finally began to dissipate, and the lizard dragon in the desert retreated into the black vortex. The world of the black vortex was a boundless mountain range. This place was extremely quiet and desolate, without any signs of life. The sky was pitch black, and the dark clouds seemed to be motionless. What is this place? Lin Ling and the rest landed on the lizard dragon and frowned as they looked into the distance. They saw that the lizard dragon walked into the mountains and then fell into a deep sleep, as if they had turned into stone statues. Lin Ling and the rest saw this strange scene, but they could not figure out what caused the lizard dragon to fall into a deep sleep. Young master, you can use boundary essence here. Boundary essence is not suppressed. Suddenly, Do Afterimage could not help but laugh excitedly. After Broken Sword checked it out, he also smiled. They did not like the feeling of being suppressed. That's good. Lin Ling also checked it out and then nodded. With boundary essence, his strength could increase again, which was beneficial to him. After that, they continued to move forward. However, it was still pitch black in front of them. There was no light or sound. Walking alone in this kind of mountain range might make one feel as if they were already dead. Xiao Yu was also affected by the surrounding atmosphere. She held Lin Ling's hand tightly while Lin Ling kept an eye on their surroundings. He knew that the quieter it was, the greater the danger. Moreover, Lin Ling also sensed that something was wrong. This was because his soul force had sensed that there was something secretly monitoring them. He couldn't help but look at Du Kening and the others. However, even though they were assassins, they didn't notice anything. Instead, they looked at Lin Ling in confusion. Could it be that my senses are mistaken? Lin Ling immediately frowned, because the feeling of being watched would sometimes disappear and sometimes appear, making it difficult for him to be sure. He could only secretly keep an eye on it. After walking for a long time, Lin Ling's footsteps suddenly came to a halt. Do Afterimage and the others immediately looked at Lin Ling, their eyes turning serious. Lin Ling stared ahead, frowned slightly, and said indifferently, "You have been following us for so long. Could it be that you want to continue following us?" His voice drifted out, but the mountain range in front of them was still silent. There was not even the sound of wind. This made Du Kening and Broken Sword look at Lin Ling again. Could it be that their young master had sensed wrongly? Xiao. However, at this moment, a black shadow suddenly flashed over, like lightning crossing the pitch-black sky. Most importantly, this lightning was silent and its speed had reached 200 boundary essence. The fatal aura locked onto Xiao Yu. It seemed that Xiao Yu was the weakest, so the killing intent wanted to kill her first. You are courting death. Broken Sword was beside Xiao Yu. At this moment, he stepped forward and blocked in front of Xiao Yu without fear of death. At the same time, he activated all his boundary essence, forming a cold dagger of killing intent. Cold light flashed, and the dagger slashed forward, causing cracks to appear in the space. Rumble. However, that black shadow was extremely powerful. It was unknown what method it used, but when it collided with Broken Sword's dagger, it actually shattered his dagger. A wave of killing intent instantly landed on Broken Sword's body. However, at this moment, sword light flashed, revealing its sharpness. Clang! Just as the killing intent was about to land on Broken Sword's neck, a sword blocked in front of him, causing Broken Sword to relax. It was his lord. At this moment, beside Broken Sword, Lin Ling held a large sword and blocked that fatal attack. He also stared ahead, only to see that the fatal attack was a tail that looked like a scorpion's tail. Looking ahead, black scales appeared, and a black scorpion the size of a calf appeared in front of Lin Ling. What was terrifying was that this scorpion actually had a dragon's head, and its 8 legs were in the form of dragon claws. It was just that its body was completely black. Moreover, Lin Ling also sensed that this scorpion had the aura of a dragon. The combination of a dragon and a scorpion? It could be called a monster. Woo woo woo. After being blocked by Lin Ling's large sword, the tail actually spewed out a wave of black smoke. It's poisonous, retreat immediately. Lin Ling shouted anxiously as he brandished his sword, creating a strong gust of wind that blew the cloud-like poison away. Xiao! When he waved his large sword, the black light arrived again, and the dragon-scorpion monster attacked again. Two huge claws grabbed at Lin Ling, but were blocked by Lin Ling's tyrannical song sword. However, at this moment, that fatal tail shot out again. Wind technique. Lin Ling shouted, and his body was like the wind, graceful and formless. Using 200 world speed, Lin Ling used his speed to dodge that fatal tail. However, the dragon scorpion was really powerful. While it kept spitting out poisonous clouds, it also used the speed of 200 worlds to chase after Lin Ling. Clang clang clang. Under the silent mountain range, a deafening sound rang out. One man and one scorpion, in the blink of an eye, they had exchanged 500 rounds. What kind of monster is this? Its strength is too great. Du Ying and the broken sword were protecting Xiao Yu, and they said solemnly. They felt that it was not a scorpion at all, but a dragon, a poisonous scorpion dragon. What powerful strength, it has reached the power of 2000 world speed. At this moment, Lin Ling's right arm was a little numb. After several clashes, he also knew that this dragon scorpion was powerful. However, he did not use his full strength. Of course, in such a mysterious place, the longer the battle dragged on, the more unfavorable it was for Lin Ling. Therefore, Lin Ling pushed his speed to the extreme, and the wind and rain myriad world technique appeared, mixed with the great nether wind dragon's great Tao of wind, allowing him to reach the speed of 300 world speed. This speed instantly pulled the dragon scorpion apart, and the dragon scorpion was obviously stunned, unable to react in time. However, its ferocious aura was overflowing, and it once again pounced on Lin Ling. Illusion God's true inheritance. Lin Ling's heart stirred, and he planned to end the battle quickly. After the illusion appeared, countless Lin Ling appeared, and it was impossible to distinguish between the real and the fake. This made the dragon scorpion a little confused, and it could only continue to attack those Lin Ling. However, the real Lin Ling was hidden among them, and the big sword merged the power of the 5 dantians and slashed out fiercely. Chapter 3367. The Mysterious Old Man. Clang. Sparks flew in all directions. That calf-like dragon scorpion scales were sliced open, and green blood flowed all over the ground. However, it did not die, and instead suffered heavy injuries. This clearly showed how powerful it was. His overall strength had probably reached the late stage of the saint stage or even the peak stage. I've already unleashed 70% of my strength, but I still couldn't kill it. It's really troublesome. Lin Ling's expression also became serious. If there were more of these dragon scorpions, then even he, Lin Ling, would not be able to stop them. However, whatever he thought of came true. In the quiet mountain range, huge figures appeared one after another. If one looked carefully, one would see countless monsters walking over. Some of them were like cows, some were like tigers. There were all kinds of strange creatures and they were extremely ferocious. These monsters surrounded Lin Ling and the others, roaring angrily. Furthermore, all of them had the same characteristic, which was that they possessed the blood of dragons. These monsters were originally the subspecies left behind by the gods. They were incomparably powerful. Coupled with the dragon god's bloodline, their strength was naturally unparalleled. Your Excellency, who are you? Moreover, what shocked Lin Ling the most was that these monsters actually spoke human language. Who are you? Lin Ling suppressed his astonishment and said in a low voice. If you don't speak, die. The eyes of those monsters were extremely cold. Although their voices sounded like human speech, they were extremely hoarse. It was as if speaking was not an easy task for them. Kill. Those monsters erupted with terrifying baleful aura and began to surround Lin Ling. Most of them were at the peak of the sage stage, and many of them were close to the martial ancestor stage. This kind of ancient vicious creature was simply not what Lin Ling could withstand. Although Lin Ling's illusion god true inheritance had confused a large number of monsters, they were still powerful enough to tear apart the illusion. As for Lin Ling's 300 sector speed, he was immediately at a disadvantage against some of the bird-like monsters. This was because those monsters had 500 sector speed. Terrifying, extremely terrifying. If such a ferocious army was placed in Lin Ling's world, it would be enough to stir up a bloody storm. Calamity-destroying Sun Bao. Lin Ling roared and unleashed his full battle strength. The dragon Bao appeared and 4 arrows intertwined, killing those monsters. After the dragon Bao appeared, the monsters were stunned. They seemed to be surprised by Lin Ling's dragon Bao. But soon, a rhinoceros-like dragon demon appeared and roared at the sky. It absorbed a large amount of gas and formed a huge black light barrier. It actually blocked Lin Ling's dragon god arrow. Too strong. Lin Ling's expression grew even more solemn. He was certain that he was no match for the rhinoceros-like dragon demon at the martial ancestor realm. Fuse, transform. Death was upon him. Lin Ling did not hide anything. His soul power burst out, and he turned into a dark dragon demon. He waved his dragon claws, and the world-swallowing beast increased its defensive power by a huge margin. Rumble. A bear-like dragon demon collided with Lin Ling. It was immediately flipped over by Lin Ling, and its chest was torn open by Lin Ling's dragon claws. Now, Lin Ling had 2,000 realms of power. In addition to the fusion of his 5 dantians and various talents, he was even stronger than when he was in the rainbow world. What? He's also a dragon demon. Seeing Lin Ling's inhuman and dragon-like appearance, all the monsters were shocked. In fact, the current Lin Ling gave them a strong visual impression. His entire body was covered in black scales, and it was even darker than theirs. He had 4 black dragon claws, and muddy black clouds surrounded his body. Most importantly, a strong dragon aura emanated from him, and it was even purer than theirs. I don't believe that he's also a dragon demon. However, many martial ancestor realm monsters roared and pounced on Lin Ling again. Boom! Lin Ling collided with one of the monsters, creating a terrifying shockwave that blew the mountains of the Silent Mountain range down. Lin Ling was also at a disadvantage, but he was not injured. This meant that with his transformation talent and his 5 dantians, his strength was comparable to the martial ancestor realm. Of course, it was just barely comparable. Looks like I'll have to use the true inheritance dark sword. Lin Ling's eyes turned pitch black, and they were extremely cold and merciless. He knew that if he used the true inheritance dark sword, even if he could kill these dragon demons, he, Lin Ling, would definitely die. After all, it would take a long time to kill the monsters, and Lin Ling would consume more life force. Don't be rude. However, at that moment, a smile suddenly sounded. Then, a white-haired old man walked out of the Broken Mountain range. He was holding a walking stick and wearing a black robe. The white beard formed a sharp contrast with the black robe. We have guests from afar. We should welcome them. The old man looked extremely benevolent. He stopped in his tracks and smiled at Lin Ling and the others. The surrounding dragons fell silent, and a wisp of awe and fear appeared in their eyes. Lin Ling also noticed this change. He frowned slightly, then bowed to the old man. Thank you for your help, Senior. He was extremely shocked. There were people in this mysterious world. Moreover, this old man was able to make all the dragon demons fear him. Who was this old man? At that moment, Lin Ling appeared to be polite, but he was wary of this old man. This was because from any angle, this old man was a powerful person. "Guests, you've come from afar. Why don't you take a look at my immortal residence?" "Yes." The old man was still smiling. "I wouldn't dare to go against Senior's wishes. It just so happens that I have the same thoughts." "Thank you, Senior," Lin Ling said politely. He withdrew all of his aura, brought Xiao Yu and the others, and followed the old man. All the dragon demons made way for them. They lay on both sides of the road and stared at Lin Ling and the others covetously. It was as if they could swallow Lin Ling and the others in one bite. However, they didn't dare and could only lie there. Lin Ling followed the old man forward. In front of them, birds chirped and flowers bloomed. It was like a paradise. Here, white clouds floated, immortal fruits, and immortal beasts walked freely on the grass. It was a happy and harmonious scene. So beautiful. Seeing this mysterious scene, Broken Sword immediately let out a cry of surprise. "How is my immortal residence?" Hearing Broken Sword's words, the old man couldn't help but laugh. "Very beautiful." Lin Ling immediately praised, causing the old man to laugh. It was as if he was very satisfied with Lin Ling's answer. "Come, follow me." The old man plucked some immortal fruits from the tree, handed them to Xiao Yu, and said with a smile. That kind appearance undoubtedly made Xiao Yu have a good impression of him. Perhaps seeing the old man made Xiao Yu feel as if she was seeing her grandfather. "Xiao Yu, why aren't you thanking Senior Grandpa?" Lin Ling said with a smile. "Thank you, Senior Grandpa." Xiao Yu immediately smiled sweetly. "Hee, what a cute little girl." Chapter 3368. Bone of the Dragon God. Lin Ling looked at Afterimage and the others again and realized that they were all attracted by the immortal realm. They seemed to respect the old man very much and did not notice anything at all. However, Lin Ling didn't say much. He followed the old man and continued forward. He looked behind him and saw that those cute immortal beasts were still playing, eating immortal fruits, and running on the grass. But for some reason, these immortal beasts gave him a distorted feeling. Why do I have such a feeling? Lin Ling thought inwardly. He activated the 10,000 Mammoth's magic eyes and released his soul power, but he didn't find anything wrong. In the end, he finally found out why he felt distorted. It was because the eyes of those immortal beasts were different. They were actually pitch black. Although those immortal beasts were cute animals like deer and rabbits, Lin Ling could sense that their eyes were bloodthirsty. This discovery undoubtedly caused Lin Ling's entire body to turn cold. "Little friend, what do you think of my palace?" At this time, the old man stopped. Lin Ling and the others discovered that they had arrived at the edge of a cliff. A magnificent golden bridge connected the cliff, and on the other side was a grand and ancient palace. The palace was white in color, and upon closer inspection, it was actually carved out of countless bones. Although the bones would make one's heart palpitate, for some unknown reason, the carvings of the bones were extremely perfect. They perfectly fused together to form this exquisite and majestic palace. How was this a palace? It was simply a work of art. Looking at the corners of the palace, one could see majestic dragon heads, making the palace look like a dragon palace. Dragon bones. Lin Ling couldn't help but cry out in surprise. Xiao Yu and the others were the same. They were all attracted by the holiness and beauty of this palace. That's right, it was carved from dragon bones. When the old man saw Lin Ling and the rest's shocked expressions, he couldn't help but smile in satisfaction. He liked to see these people's shocked expressions. Moreover, these dragon bones are all bones of the dragon god. Lin Ling was indeed shocked. Her little friend seems to be very interested in the dragon god's bone. The old man looked at Lin Ling and said, you are honored guests. Since you like these dragon bones, take as many as you like. I don't have much in this immortal land, but I have a lot of dragon bones. Really? Lin Ling was overjoyed. Of course. Now, follow me into the palace. The old man smiled and nodded. He took a step forward and walked toward the bridge, leading the way to the mysterious palace. Lin Ling and the others followed closely behind. Welcome back, Your Excellency. Welcome, guests. Arriving at the bottom of the palace, there were already many maids and guards standing there. They all had smiles on their faces. Their clothes were neat and tidy, giving off an extremely good feeling. Yes. The old man nodded and strode into the palace. Dear guests, please take your time. When Lin Ling and the rest followed, the maids and guards said in unison. You're too polite. Even Xiao Yu felt overwhelmed by this unexpected favor. This palace, coupled with these maids and guards, TSK, as expected of a place with the title of immortal abode. Even though Do Afterimage had traveled extensively, this was the first time he had seen such a beautiful thing. In this place, he felt like an immortal, being worshipped and revered by mortals. The interior of the palace was also beautifully decorated, revealing a luxurious and surging aura everywhere, causing Xiao Yu and the rest to exclaim repeatedly. However, Lin Ling did not speak this time. For some reason, although the interior of the palace was very beautiful, it always gave him a sense of disharmony, as if everything was distorted. Looking at the polite maids and guards around him, although the maids and fairies were beautiful, the guards were like celestial soldiers and generals. However, Lin Ling still had a feeling that under this beautiful surface, there seemed to be an ugly side hidden. I hope it's an illusion. Lin Ling shook his head inwardly. This old man's strength was too strong. Whether all of this was true or not, with Lin Ling's strength, he could not see through it at all. In a large hall, everyone sat down, and immediately, maids placed all kinds of immortal fruits and immortal wine. The old man politely asked Lin Ling and the rest to sit up. The immortal fruits were extremely fragrant, causing one's appetite to whet. Moreover, after tasting them, they found that the immortal fruits were indeed very delicious. Therefore, Xiao Yu and the rest ate a lot, but Lin Ling, who had a grudge in his heart, only ate a little symbolically. Young friend Lin Ling, is it not to your taste? On the way, the old man and Lin Ling had a rough conversation, so they knew each other's names. At this moment, he could not help but ask curiously. No, it's mainly because I'm used to cultivating, so I don't really like to eat. Lin Ling said with a smile. You, are a martial arts fanatic. The old man nodded immediately. Some martial artists who were addicted to martial arts were like this. Unless it was treasures used for cultivation, they usually did not like to eat or enjoy themselves. Lin Ling should be such a person. Senior, you're right. Lin Ling nodded politely, and the doubts in his heart grew stronger. Why was this old man so polite to them? What was hidden in this palace? All of this made him feel confused and bewildered. I see that you are travel-worn and have not had a good rest for a while. Have a good rest in the palace tonight. Here, no one can disturb you. After Lin Ling and the rest had eaten their fill, the old man said with a smile. Thank you, senior. Speaking of this, Doing and the rest immediately laughed. In the demon desert, they had been on the road and were indeed travel-worn. Therefore, if they could have a good night's rest, they would definitely not miss it. Someone, take them to wash up. Immediately, a maid and the rest led Lin Ling and the rest away. Under a gorgeous waterfall, the celestial water floated and the fragrance filled the air. Lin Ling and the rest began to wash up. Broken Sword, Doing, and the rest all laughed loudly. It was obvious that the rest this time had allowed them to be extremely carefree. After washing up, the maidservant led them to their room to rest. The room was extremely spacious and the decorations were gorgeous. Before the maidservant left, she said that if they needed anything, they could look for them immediately. Then, she left. There were several comfortable beds in the room. Xiao Yu, Dou Ying, and the rest laid on the beds and relaxed their bodies. Lin Ling looked around vigilantly. After seeing that there were no objections, he relaxed a little. However, his gaze finally fell on the window. He walked forward and immediately realized that this place was very high. From the window, he could see the mountain range in the distance. The mountain range was silent and somewhat dark. It was so dark that it made one's heart palpitate. Such a terrifying place actually had such a gorgeous palace that allowed people to relax and rest. This made people suspicious. However, with the old man's strength, if he really wanted to harm them, they would not be able to resist. This made Lin Ling rub his forehead. He really could not understand all of this. Chapter 3369. Dragon God. Lin Ling was overjoyed. No matter how strange this place was, he had to get the dragon bones first. After the guards left, Lin Ling began to investigate the dragon bones. He was surprised to find that these dragon bones were extremely ancient, probably more than 100,000 years old. Moreover, all of them were dragon god bones. With these dragon bones, my sky dragon and wind dragon can be upgraded again. Lin Ling secretly said. He planned to use this time to refine the dragon bones. Then, he put away the dragon bones and wanted to refine them, but his eyes looked out of the window again. He saw that in the dark mountain range, it was still quiet as if it was a devil's world. However, in the darkness, eyes faintly appeared, and these eyes were secretly staring at the palace. It was extremely strange. Is it those dragon demons? Lin Ling frowned, then went to the bed and began to refine the dragon bones. Roar! Although these dragon bones were inanimate objects, they must have been the most ancient and powerful existences when they were dragon gods. Therefore, when Lin Ling refined them, he immediately sensed an indescribable pressure assaulting him. It was as if countless invisible and colorless dragon kings surrounded Lin Ling, wanting to devour Lin Ling. These dragon bones are more powerful than the dragon bones I saw in the past. Lin Ling was shocked. He was sure that if it was someone else, they would definitely not be able to refine these dragon bones. Unfortunately, his Chaos Divine formula was too powerful, there was nothing it could not refine. Just like a furnace, the dragon god's bone was thrown into the furnace and turned into dragon god's chi. This mysterious dragon god chi continuously poured into Lin Ling's bones. Ka ka ka. Lin Ling's bones made a crisp sound, as if they were being reorganized, starting from shattering and then fusing together. This process was naturally extremely painful. Unfortunately, Lin Ling had faced too many setbacks and tribulations since he started cultivating. This kind of pain was equivalent to nothing to him. Lin Ling did not even blink, allowing the bones in his body to change. At the same time, his fifth dantian was also changing. A storm was swirling, turning into a wind dragon that coiled around his dantian. The talents of the two dragons were transforming at this moment. They were transforming towards the ultimate desolate body. At present, Lin Ling's only ultimate desolate body was the spacetime divine monument, but now, there were two more. While Lin Ling was cultivating, Xiao Yu, Du Kanying, and the others accompanied the old man and walked around the palace. During this period of time, they were quite happy. Lin Ling was not worried about Xiao Yu and the others. After all, if the old man really wanted to kill them, he would not be able to stop him. With the passage of time, Lin Ling's heavenly dragon skeleton had completely transformed, entering the ranks of a first-grade ultimate desolate body. Ultimate desolate body. People with such talent were all at the pinnacle of the 9 prefectures, but Lin Ling had 2. Furthermore, the great nether wind dragon was also transforming. It had finally entered the ranks of the ultimate desolate body. In this way, Lin Ling's strength increased greatly. Furthermore, during the time he was refining the dragon skeleton, he had naturally entered the fourth heaven of the sage realm, breaking through 2 levels consecutively. The dragon god's bone was indeed a rare item. My strength has reached the power of 2,000 realms. If I were to transform with my talents, I can reach the power of 5,000 realms. At full speed, I can reach the speed of 500 realms. Lin Ling muttered to himself. His physical strength had finally reached a new realm. If his cultivation realm and soul strength increased, he could open his 6th dantian. At present, as long as his opponent was not at the martial ancestor realm, he was not afraid of anyone, even if his opponent had an ultimate desolate body. No wonder my intuition told me to come here. So that's why. Sensing the earth-shaking changes in his body, Lin Ling revealed a smile. Although he had killed all the sages when he was being pursued in the Yen state, he knew that he was still very weak. Therefore, he had always wanted to become stronger. Now, he had finally completed a stage of his goal. The great solar calamity bow has reached the state of the 6th arrow. Lin Ling said again. This was because the strength of the great solar calamity bow depended on the strength of the dragon skeleton. When the dragon skeleton improved, the dragon race's divine ability would also improve. Furthermore, what surprised Lin Ling was that the 6th arrow's divine ability had the power of 10,000 arrows piercing the heart. Unfortunately, there was no one here for Lin Ling to test. This made Lin Ling feel somewhat regretful. I've been here for quite some time. I'm afraid it's about a year. It's time to go back. On this day, Lin Ling finally stood up and left his room. He went to the back garden of the palace. It was like a fairyland, with birds chirping and flowers fragrant. The old man was playing with Xiao Yu. Do Kanying and the rest were also there. Xiao Yu, is it fun? The old man said with a smile, looking extremely benevolent. Yes, it's fun. Xiao Yu also smiled, but Lin Ling could see that this smile was very forced. This made Lin Ling frown. Soon after, he understood. Although this palace was very beautiful and had many mysterious places, there was no one here. At first, it could arouse people's curiosity, but after a long time, everything would become boring. Xiao Yu was like that. Because the playfulness of a child gradually disappeared, she wanted to leave. This was not Xiao Yu's home after all. It's good that it's fun. Play with Grandpa more in the future. The old man did not know what Xiao Yu was thinking and said happily. Could it be that this senior's real intention is for us to stay and accompany him? Seeing this scene, Lin Ling also had some guesses. Perhaps the old man had been trapped here for many years. He was lonely, but Lin Ling and the rest could not stay here. They could not stay to accompany him because of his loneliness. Thinking of this, Lin Ling walked up. Lin Ling, you're finally out. Although the old man did not look at Lin Ling, he seemed to know that Lin Ling was coming. Senior. Lin Ling immediately bowed and then went straight to the point. This junior is here to bid farewell. As soon as he said this, Xiao Yu, Du Xianing, and the rest's eyes lit up. The old man was still smiling, but he began to ponder. A strange atmosphere began to slowly spread out. This atmosphere made Xiao Yu's heart turn cold. She hurried to Lin Ling's side and looked at the old man in shock. Because of their interaction during this period, the old man gave her the impression that he was kind and amiable. This was the first time she had seen the old man emit such an aura. Why? Are you not satisfied with staying here? The old man was silent for a long time before finally looking at Lin Ling. Senior, we are very satisfied with this place. However, we still have many things to do outside. There are still many people who care about us waiting for us. So, I'm sorry. Lin Ling cupped his fists and bowed. So that's the case. The old man nodded, but he also stopped smiling. What if I don't let you leave? Chapter 3370. The Dragon Demon of the Silent Mountains. Hearing this, the elder fell silent. The eerie aura around him became even thicker. He didn't explain anything, but said indifferently, "You are not allowed to leave." After he finished speaking, he turned around and left. His cold demeanor was completely different from before. Seeing this, Lin Ling frowned. Could it be that he had no choice but to force his way out? However, even though his strength had increased greatly, he was still no match for the old man. Go back. Lin Ling did not say much as he led Xiaoyu and the others back to the room. In the room, there were many afterimages. They also understood the old man's intentions. At this moment, they were extremely anxious, but there was nothing they could do. Lin Ling didn't say anything. He seemed to be thinking about something. The few of them sat there quietly until night fell. In the sky, a round of bright moonlight hung there. After it covered the earth, it made the palace look extremely beautiful. But in the eyes of Lin Ling and the others, all of this was very strange, as if it had been distorted. How am I to get away? Lin Ling became more and more anxious because the more he stayed in this demonic palace, the greater the danger. His gaze suddenly fell on the window. Through the bright moonlight, it fell on the distant Black Mountain range. Over there, mysterious eyes appeared from time to time, as if they were monitoring Lin Ling. "Sir, you're in trouble." At this time, an old voice sounded in Lin Ling's ears, causing his expression to change. It was those dragon demons. "Why do you say that?" Lin Ling was shocked, but his expression remained calm. "Hee, it's up to you to believe it or not." The old voice was filled with disdain, and it gradually disappeared without a trace. This caused Lin Ling to frown. He was very sure that those voices came from the distant mountain range, but why did the other party warn him? Moreover, weren't those dragon demons obeying the old man's orders? Perhaps, this was all a scam. Lin Ling continued to ponder, but his eyes finally lit up. He seemed to have thought of something. At this moment, he wanted to go to the silent mountain range, but he knew that the old man was definitely still monitoring him. This meant that he couldn't leave. However, just because he couldn't leave didn't mean that there was no other way. "I'll use little Kunlun to sneak over with my soul energy," Lin Ling thought to himself. Then, he secretly told little Kunlun about his idea. Little Kunlun immediately understood. It quietly sprouted and turned into a tiny vine. From a corner of the room, it quietly grew out. Then, it followed the ground and extended towards the silent mountain range. Lin Ling guessed that it was not the elder who was monitoring him, but those guards. Those guards only needed to detect the presence of others, so they would not notice little Kunlun's actions. The black vines were silent, and they grew at an extremely fast speed. Like snakes, they slithered across the ground and finally arrived at the silent hills in the distance. Lin Ling's soul force was also hidden within. When little Kunlun stopped, his soul force quietly spread out. "Sir, I'm here." A soft voice drifted through the mountain range, causing the mountain range to fall silent. A moment later, a large number of black shadows appeared and walked towards little Kunlun. "You're quite bold. You know that we want to kill you, yet you still dare to appear." The old voice immediately sounded. "Everyone, let me guess the reason why you want to kill me. You don't want that elder to obtain anything, so you want to kill me. This means that you have a grudge with that elder." Little Kunlun was like a demonic plant, constantly emitting sounds. However, the dragon demons in the mountain range were all silent at this moment. "Moreover, you fought with me and roughly knew my strength. However, you never mentioned it to that elder. From this point, I'm even more certain that you hate that elder." Lin Ling said again. "Sir, you're right." Finally, the dragon demons admitted it. They looked like they wanted to kill Lin Ling, but in fact, they were on the same side as Lin Ling. On the other hand, that elder was very polite to Lin Ling, but he wanted to harm Lin Ling. Then, now, you can tell me why I'm in trouble. Lin Ling's laughter sounded. Hearing this, a burly figure walked out. It was a demonic dragon that was a combination of a bear and a dragon. Because that person doesn't want to keep you here. His real target is you. What? This time, Lin Ling's heart changed drastically. He thought that the elder wanted them to stay because he wanted them to accompany the elder. However, he underestimated the elder's ambition. He's the ghost dragon god. Legend has it that he's the dragon god of the dragon clan. He came here a long time ago and was sealed by the god here. Therefore, he summoned the lizard dragon demons to capture the experts in the rainbow realm and used ghost arts to change those experts into the dragon clan's bloodline. Those experts are us. The bear dragon demon spoke again. At first, we didn't know why he did this. Because when he turned us into dragon demons, our strength increased greatly. But later, we finally understood. He wants to find a substitute to break the god's seal and leave this place. Yes. Hearing this, Lin Ling suddenly understood. You mean, the substitute he found is me? Yes. That's right. Because you have the purest dragon god bloodline, you're very suitable to be his substitute. Yes. The demons all nodded. That's why you're in trouble. He needs your fleshly body to leave this place. Yes. Lin Ling's heart suddenly became heavy. That elder had a good plan. He wanted him, Lin Ling, to sit in prison for him. Then, the elder would replace Lin Ling and return to Lin Ling's world to change everything. Is there a way out here? Yes. Lin Ling pondered for a moment and then asked. There is, but it's controlled by the ghost dragon god. It's in the center of the palace. However, although the ghost dragon god wants you to replace him, he missed one point. That is, your soul power is stronger than his. Yes. That's why we want to kill you. Because we hate him and don't want him to leave this place. So, if you die, the ghost dragon god's plan will fail. Yes. However, Lin Ling just smiled and said, but you've changed your mind. You want to make a bet, right? Yes. Hearing this, all the dragon demons were stunned. Then, they nodded one after another. They had underestimated this young man. This young man actually knew what they were thinking. Let me guess again. You also want to leave this place. You think I have a high chance of leaving with you, so you didn't kill me in the end. Lin Ling smiled. The dragon demon's eyes flashed and they said, that's right. Because your soul power is stronger than his, you have a chance of seriously injuring him and leaving this place. Of course, this hope is very slim, but we've been trapped for too long. We all want to leave this place, so we gambled. Yes. Why do you think I will succeed? Lin Ling asked again. He was still cautious. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.